Hello, good morning, and welcome to AM Show. It's the best breakfast show on the block, and you can't miss it. We're glad that you joined us this morning. We'll bring you AM News on the show today, anchored by my honorable self, and then we'll bring you AM Sports. After AM Sports, we'll have our news review, and this morning on the AM Show, there are a number of matters arising, we're discussing, but today we turn our attention, to two main areas. So first, the ECOWAS court ruling, What does it mean for removed Chief Justice Torkornoo, the judiciary, and also the broader justice system? We'll discuss that. And the second item is the growing debate over the hefty bail conditions. Are these measures becoming punitive, or are they justified as necessary safeguards? We'll have that conversation. And joining us for the discussion, our guest, Nana Sapong, he's Deputy General Secretary of United Party. We'll also have Dr. Joshua Zato, he's political scientist and also a policy analyst. And then Hamza Suhini, he's lawyer and member of the NDC communications team, and also the woman on the panel, Dr. Ikia Mwako, she's deputy spokesperson for the Baumia campaign. They'll be joining us for the news review. And also in our big stories, we bring you an exclusive conversation with engineer Kwabena Agyepong. He's MPP's 2028 presidential aspirant, and we are diving into his vision for the country, the future of the party, and also what he believes the next chapter of leadership should look like. And so, of course, after that big story, you have your opportunity to share your thoughts across all our social media platforms. You're joining news on TV. But up next is AM News with me. Please stay with us. Welcome back. This is AM News. My name is Denisia Pomaide. In our very first story, Executive Director of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, Raymond Acha, is defending the agency's decision to set high bail conditions, saying that the approach is grounded in practical experience with major financial crimes. So, addressing the third annual National Fraud Conference, he said EOCO is unfazed by the complaints from lawyers who think the office is unsettling the traditional bail regime, insisting the agency will not soften an approach forged through years of dealing with sophisticated criminal networks. The following report has more.
Speaking at the third edition of the ACFA National Fraud Conference, EOCO boss Raymond Acha likened bail to the collateral demanded in a rescue loan, arguing that leniency gives powerful suspects every incentive to walk away without consequence. He extended that logic to economic crimes, describing situations where investigations involve losses of $90 million or more.
Bail is connected to a case. So imagine if I have a case of 100 million, the exposure or the risk. We do a lot of investigation for the banks, for example, where somebody has stolen $90 million. And then you catch the suspect, then you give him a bail of $20 million. So he has 90 million, you give him a bail of 20 million. He's looking left, he's looking right. Look, the person who stood surety for me, your exposure is 20 million. I'm giving you 25 million. I'm gone.
Executive Director of Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Ibrahima, lamented the growing trend of powerful individuals and companies using lawsuits to intimidate investigative journalists. He called for stronger state commitment to fighting corruption and greater public support for accountability journalism.
Almost every big story we have done, somebody has taken us to court. And it takes some amount of resilience to say, yes, but let's continue. Yeah, even though you are in court. Last week, Tuesday, I was in court, for the appeals case. Maybe the next day you are there, the lawyer say, oh, this case is on this date. You either, even the emotional thing of being in court all the time for wanting to save or support your country is something that is quite difficult. But in some countries, they've made anti-SLAPP legislations where you cannot just go to court on a flimsy excuse.
Meanwhile, the Executive Director of Transparency International Ghana, Ofori-Atta, says whistleblowing remains critical because corruption is usually concealed between two offenders who both benefit and won't report themselves.
Why do we think whistleblowing should be, the agenda should be prosecuted? Because I said that in many of the instances, we decide to keep quiet and then we think about and reflect on our own business. Whistleblowing is important because the fight against corruption would be the better for it.
Economic advisor to the president, Seth Tekpe, and other experts were all present at the third edition of the ACFE National Fraud Conference, which was under the theme, Empowering Ethical Leadership and Accountability, the Pathway to a Corruption-Free Society.
Now, the National Women's Organizer of the NDC is making a strong push for the review of African Union's Agenda 2063. The Aspiration 6 of the framework aims at creating a continent where development is people-driven, relying on the potential of African people, especially its women and children. However, speaking at the 2025 Africa Women Conference in Accra, Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisiu-Kote, who doubles as administrator for the Minerals Development Fund, says 2063 is too far a timeline to address the plight of women seeking leadership. There's more in the following report.
After its inauguration in New York some 9 years ago, the African Women Conference has championed the cause of women empowerment across the continent, and same is the story in Accra for 2025.
For 9 years, after its inauguration in New York, AWC has remained a lighthouse of hope, dialogue, and action. From Namibia to Morocco, Rwanda to Gambia, Ethiopia, Zambia, and now in Ghana, we continue to build a movement of women who are not afraid to think differently, to speak boldly, and to also lead courageously.
The African Union, in its Agenda 2063 framework, aims at creating a continent where development is people-driven, relying on the potential of African people, especially women and children. However, addressing the conference, the National Women's Organizer of the NDC, Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisiu-Kote, who doubles as the administrator of the Minerals Development Fund, says the 2063 timeline must be reviewed.
That is why when I saw the campaign that is being made in Nigeria to reserve a seat for women in parliament, I fully endorsed it because it's part of what I also envisage for the Ghanaian women. I have been a member of parliament before. I've been deputy minister 8 years, member of parliament 4 years. I know what it takes for us to go to parliament. And I'm happy that I'm out of parliament now so that I can champion the cause. For no one to tell me that, oh, because you want to be there. And I'm still pushing that where we have our strongholds, all political parties, some sort of seats should be reserved for women to contest. So if you have 40 women contesting, definitely a woman will come out. But look at a woman who will be performing and you find 10 women, 10 men ganging up, contesting her in the primaries and taking her out. That is something that I fully endorse, but I'm going to push and champion for the review of your 2063 for total equality is too far. I still take it as some of the speeches, the tokenism, the documents, to let women feel that something is being done. We are more than the men in Africa. It's the women who make men take positions.
Meanwhile, at the national level, Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Agnes Naa-Momolate, reveals that plans are underway to develop a national gender policy that will mainstream women empowerment.
Again, the ministry has taken steps to develop the 2025 to 2034 National Gender Policy. This policy seeks to create equal opportunities for all by mainstreaming gender equality and women's empowerment concerns into the national development agenda.
Participants at this year's forum are hopeful of forging new pathways for Africa's sustainable development through women empowerment. Les Ogan's report for Joy News, Accra.
Let me now take you to the Volta region. The Ministry of Works and Housing is continuing its inspection of ongoing project sites to ensure timely completion. On day 2 of the tour, the minister visited the Blekusu Sea Defense Project in the Volta region. Works and Housing Minister Kenneth Gilbert Ejay expressed deep satisfaction with the progress made since the project began 6 months ago.
On the second day of his inspection of ongoing projects, the Minister for Works and Housing, Kenneth Gilbert Ejay, visited the Blekusu Sea Defense Project in the Volta region. He expressed strong satisfaction with the pace of work and shared his excitement with the media while urging the contractor to maintain the momentum to bring much-needed relief to residents.
I must say that I am impressed about what is going on here because I've been receiving payment certificates in the office. I've been asking myself, is the work really going on like the way these payment certificates keep coming? And I decided that today I'll pay a visit to ensure that whatever payment certificate that comes to my office to be signed, the actual work has been done. And truly, I've come to see that the work is really going on.
Volta Regional Minister James Gunu also urged the contractor to prioritize the auxiliary facilities of the project before moving on to the more complex structures.
I want to also appeal to the contractors. Yes, we appreciate the work they are doing. There are some auxiliary facilities that comes with this whole project. They can start those ones at the same time, so that the community will benefit from those auxiliary facilities like the cold store, the market, and so on and so forth. You know, they need not to wait. I know they have the capacity to deliver on those other projects.
Project Director of Amandi Limited, Ahood Derry, briefed the minister on the ongoing works at the site and outlined the tasks that remain to be completed.
Because of the situation on the site, we are not as we planned before to work on each joint. We are working on 4 or 5 joints in the same time. So if you remember when we was here before a few months, the line of the beach, the water was in the road. Today, this area that we are working on 6 groint, here we are now standing on groint number 1. We can see here number 2, 3, and until 6. We are working, the equipment is on 3 in the same time.
The visit highlights the government's commitment to ensuring timely completion of critical infrastructure projects, promising improved safety and relief for the residents of the Volta region. Mama Visafa Kote's report, read to you.
Away from the Volta region, the Municipal Chief Executive for Wassa Amenfi East in the Western region, Raymond Nana Eba, has cut sod for the construction of a 3-unit classroom block for the Ekropon A School in a move aimed at easing severe classroom congestion in the community. Speaking at the ceremony, the MCE outlined additional development projects, including a new CHIPS compound and 30 mechanized boreholes, explaining that President Mahama's resetting agenda prioritizes improved education, healthcare, and access to potable water. He assured residents that Wassa Amenfi East will receive its fair share of these critical interventions.
Students at Ekropon A School in the Wassa Amenfi East municipality of the Western region, the prospect of a new classroom is a hope for an improved educational environment. The municipal chief executive for the area, Raymond Nana Eba, shared that cutting sod for a 3-unit classroom block for the school follows the assembly receiving its share of the district assembly's common fund. He added that there are plans to construct a CHIPS compound and 30 boreholes for communities in the municipality.
As part of President Mama's resetting agenda, Amenfi East were able to have our own share. I think that is the common fund. We had 3-unit classroom block, and then 2 a KG, and then 6-unit classroom block. We're also going to construct a chip compound. That's 2 chip compounds. And today, what we had was, what we had was the KG block, the 3-unit classroom, and then construction of the boreholes. That was what we had today.
He also shares a vision of having a legacy project, one that will cement his name in the history books of the Wassa-Memphis municipality.
My expectation is to have my name because I want to have a legacy project, something that Wassa-Memphis East will mention my name, and then they will say this is what Obiabidi did. So I'm going to construct a mini stadium. So that's one thing that I'm going to do, so that I'll have my name too on this Wassa-Memphis 2 project. That's one thing that is in my mind. I'm just urging my people in Wassa-Memphis to support me, and then so to support President Mahama. We're having this Edimkesia this Saturday, so I'm urging everyone to participate or support this Edimkesia so that we raise this Memphis East.
Florence Abua, the Municipal Education Director, while lauding the efforts of the MCE, called for more support, including posting more teachers to the area.
They've cut the sword. I'm part of it. And I know that they are going to construct the building for the children. They are moving the B school to this place. It's a laudable idea. From the MP and the MC, they are doing their part. What we need in Wassa-Memphis is teachers. And for teachers to understand it cuts across. So as and when they come, we'll accept them. That's the only challenge. But for them, they are doing their part.
From Wassa-Memphis East, Abigail Lesolin-Kroma reports for Joy News.
From the Western region, let me take you to the Central region. Former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Emmanuel Ado-Obeng, is calling for firmer regulations to guide how Ghanaian media influences religious practice. Speaking at a roundtable discussion on the expression of religion in public spaces at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Obeng expressed some deep concern about the increasing mental vulnerability of citizens due to unregulated religious content on radio and television. He urged authorities to strengthen oversight and introduce tighter controls to protect the public from misleading, exploitative, or harmful religious broadcasts.
The second event of the UCC Department of Religion and Human Values Roundtable discussion on religion and other human rights was on the theme, Expression of Religion in Public Spaces, Does the Law Matter? In his address, the Presidential Envoy in charge of interfaith and ecumenical bodies, Elvis Ofori-Atta, described the law as a framework guiding religion.
The law is not an enemy of religion. It is a framework that protects it. When we discuss religion in public spaces, from educational institutions to workplaces, from the media to political discourse, the question is not whether the law restricts faith, but how it ensures that the faith expressions contribute to order, inclusivity, and the common good. Our courts, regulatory bodies, and policymakers must continue to interpret and apply the law in ways that balance freedom with fairness, faith with function, and belief with belonging.
Guest of honor and Central Regional Minister Ekopin Adriamwa Ochre questioned whether tertiary education curriculum can be adjusted to accommodate diverse religious beliefs.
Is it possible to also have a curriculum that would take care of this situation from every level of our education, where people will not only come to university and study African religious study? It will not be enough.
The head of the Department of Religion at the University of Ghana, Professor Rosemary Amega-Itigo, criticized religious leaders who, under the guise of religious practices, commit sexual offenses.
And we've seen that in several social media platforms where people harass women, sleep with women because they want to take the devil from them or the evil from them. So religion has these opportunities, the moral values, but we shouldn't think everybody has that moral value that will save and protect the vulnerable. The vulnerable are still at risk, and we must all be careful and be protective and not be gullible and think that the religious space is a safe space.
Former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Emmanuel Ado-Obeng, called for regulations on how the media projects religious practices.
Our citizens are now appearing as if we're not critical thinkers. It's all because of the kind of things we hear on radio stations, the kind of things we hear on the TV stations, especially from these religious groups which have set up their TV and radio stations. So we need to control what they put out, or we need to regulate that. We need to protect our citizens against some of these excesses.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Lesal-Nkoma reports for Joy News.
It's now time for some business news, and of course, the Ahanta Pele, Samuel Kujibris, will bring you that shortly.
Hello, let's do business updates now by starting from what's happening on the currency market. To the Minister and GPP2 project focal point, the Ministry of Energy, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, has announced that a value for money audit will be conducted as the government considers a state-led takeover of Springfield Exploration and Production Limited's stake in the West Cape 3 Point Block 2. According to him, the audit aims to assess whether the proposed takeover aligns with the country's interest and provides value for money. Dr. Sulemana spoke to Joy Business.
Yeah, so nobody will take field without doing that. And if you look at the release, it clearly mentioned that even though Springfield may produce a data, so you see, if somebody is selling out something to you, he will certainly give you a data to analyze. So, I mean, government is leaving nothing to chance. And that is why if you look at the release, like I mentioned, there's going to be a value for money audit. When I say value for money audit, it's not the normal audit. It's a transactional advisory body and a consultant with the state-of-art technology and the technical know-how to be able to assess what Springfield has, whether it is worth what we're going to take or not. So yes, it's not just going to be taken on the face value or on top of the table. There's going to be a due diligence that's going to be done to make sure that, I mean, the asset is valued as it is. Other than that, anything short of that, then we might not be doing ourselves good. But it's good that the release mentioned that, yes, that's going to be done. And that's certainly going to be done and to ensure that we have value for money.
Away from that, country senior partner at PwC Ghana, Vish Ashagbo, has described the 2026 budget as satisfactory. Speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of the PwC Post-Budget Forum in Accra, Mr. Ashagbo said the policy document provides a balanced approach to sustaining economic stability while supporting growth. He, however, said there is still more work to be done to strengthen key sectors of the Ghanaian economy.
We think that it's broadly satisfactory. Of course, what's happening now is there's a bill that's being under consideration by Parliament. So we wait to see the final details of the act. But you know, the thrust of the whole reform effort, based on what the business community has been telling us, is that we want the system to be simplified. You know, a lot of the time it's not that people don't want to comply, it's because the systems get so complicated that it makes compliance difficult to achieve. So yes, we think it's a step, a very big step in the right direction, in that if this can be passed into law, then there will be greater transparency, greater simplification of the system, which will also encourage better compliance and hopefully more revenue. Well, I think he said that they would be working closely with businesses. And when I say businesses, sometimes when we mention businesses, our mind goes to the big corporates. But I think he referred to the whole spectrum of businesses, from small and medium-sized businesses all the way to the larger corporates. And he said the GRA would be working with businesses to facilitate implementation. And I think that's very important because, again, from our experience as a firm, as a professional services firm, a lot of people, most people in fact, do want to comply, but sometimes just lack of understanding or lack of requisite knowledge or skills sometimes become impediments. So we're very happy to hear that beyond the legislation being effective in January,
Well, that's how we conclude the news update. But we'll do that with what's happening on the commodities market, and after which Kwabena will come up and wrap up for us.
And that's it for AM News. But if you want more news, Nigeria Online has got you sorted. My name is Denise Apomaide. Up next is sports.
Time for sports on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Now, international sports consultant Magnus Rex Dankwa has warned that placing the sports fund under the Ministry of Sports and Recreation could lead to its collapse. The sports fund bill seeks to create a sustainable pool of resources for infrastructure, capacity building, and athlete welfare nationwide. But Rex Dankwa insists the initiative will struggle to succeed if it becomes entangled in politics.
On how you manage the sports fund, because there's been an issue for years.
Yeah.
And it never got done because of how do you manage it? If you manage it under the ministry, you fail.
Why?
It has to be independent. It has to be independent that when you get a person as a sponsor and the person is going to pay you $100,000 a year for 5 years, $500,000, whatever he wants in return, you have to secure it.
And you think that if the ministry is overseeing that, it cannot be done?
Sometimes politics goes into decisions.
Okay.
Because if it's a different party, and then you're also a different party, and it's now going to say, meanwhile your money is there, that's the money is being taken. But then it will not give you your due, no. So if you insulate sports fund and sports funding and sponsorship and everything from government control to be the best. Because there are people who are ready to put in the money. But then they don't want the situation that you want to go and sit on a seat and they will tell you, it's us. How can you come and sit there? Meanwhile, he's paid so much money and he deserves a seat. But because he's in opposition with a party sitting around that, then you can't have your seat. No. It should be independent. Once you get to that point, the sports fund will work without politics.
I see.
Ghanaians don't joke with their politics. You know it. I mean, the thing that has saved me severally is because I stayed in Kumasi for a long time, from tech, first degree, masters, and stayed in Kumasi and worked at the Kumasi Stadium. So I knew a lot of people Even the President Kuko.
So it means that relationships have kept you afloat.
Oh, definitely. Because no matter which door you open, it will badmouth me.
Because you have held all these major roles and done all these with all parts of the political divide.
And everybody has given me the respect.
Now, to football now, Prince Kwabena Agyepong says he's determined to secure a spot in Ghana's squad for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The 22-year-old featured in the recent friendlies against Japan and South Korea, where he scored a clever goal that was later ruled out for offside. Agyepong plays for Victoria Pilsen in Czech Republic and has scored 6 goals this season, including 1 in the Europa League.
Expectation was me and me 1 year high because I'm expecting a lot from me myself, you know? Because almost Ghana, you be 34 million population. Footballers are womb doors. It is to get opportunity to represent Ghana. No, it's not.
I have high expectations for myself. Ghana has a population of 34 million people, and there are many footballers. To get the opportunity to represent Ghana is a big deal. I will work very hard and prove my worth to the coach. I need to justify my call-up into the national team. I'm working tirelessly to achieve my dream of representing Ghana at the World Cup.
I'm back for a week. Chance and now wait. I saw more beyond who said you deserve it to be here. You know, to me working hard and not from here to we need it. I'm working very hard. Say, my dream about say I may represent Ghana at World Cup. Growing up, na player and pensioner Luis Suarez.
Okay.
Yeah, and got to some points na Bashar Samoajan.
Growing up, I idolized Asamoah and Luis Suarez because of my style of play. Those players also involve themselves in games, so I like that style.
Scoring, Asamoah is very good at scoring, and Luis Suarez is good though. Until I'm person combined, and all those 2 players, they want to involve themselves in the game. Until my person style, yeah, until I'm pulling no shame. Say, Bibia wa nimbre na time abano so the right time, mommy, because I think this is the time the head coach now say meet me be represent Ghana. Na all the time no I'm working hard say so dream will be true, amame.
Now, Ghana has already qualified and are among the 9 African nations heading into the global showpiece in North America. Morocco remained the only African team to reach a World Cup semi-final, and that has given CAF President Patrice Motsepe confidence. Now, he is saying that he is very sure that an African team will try and then go a step ahead, of course, something like a final in next year's tournament. Let's just listen to him.
Football is what we love and what we are passionate about. But we've always believed that through football, we bring our people together. We bring the very best of Africa. All of us who come from different ethnic groups, we belong to different religious groups, we come from different racial backgrounds. Football brings us together, Africa brings us together. And we represent the very best. Now, I must also thank my wife because she's the one who has to put up with all of my traveling. Thank you so much, Dr. Precious. Thank you so much. The future of African football looks very, very bright. Gianni said to me that, you know, in 2027, we'll be electing a new president of FIFA. He's standing right next to me. In 2027, when the election takes place, the very best president in the history of football in the world. And in 2030, it starts in 2026, we are going to show the rest of the world that African football is amongst the best in the world. When we go to America, we know that one of those 10 nations, I need your foot to be, very proud. We need one of the African nations will make us proud. We went to the semifinals. This time in 2026, we're going to go even better and do even more. One day, an African nation will be champions of the world. We will win the World Cup.
Absolutely.
That's why I always want Gianni next to me so that the world can get used to seeing Africa next to the president. Because the cup, we want the cup. Come, Gianni, talk, my brother.
Thank you.
Let's clap hands for the president of FIFA, please.
Now to the CAF Awards, Morocco dominated the night as Achraf Hakimi was named the 2025 African Footballer of the Year. The 27-year-old became the first Moroccan to claim the award since Mustafa Hadj in 1998. Elsewhere, Morocco captain Ghizlan Shebak, she also took home the Women's Award.
I'm going to ask my brother to read. Gianni's reminded me, it's CAF Player of the Year, the best from Africa, the best in the world. So we are going to say it together, eh?
Okay.
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 When I count three. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Achraf Hakimi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Good evening, salam alaikum. All glory to God. It's really an honor for me to be here today. It's a real pride for me to win this prestigious trophy in the football world, in the African football world, precisely. This trophy is not just for me, it's for all the Africans, the strong men and women that have dreams in Africa, and those that dream of becoming footballers.
I used to say the winner is first.
The winner is 1, 2, 3.
Ghizlan
Shebak.
First of all, salam alaikum, may peace be upon you. Sincerely, I am extremely delighted for receiving this award. It's not just a simple award, it's the fruit of a lot of hard work and labor over the years. I am delighted and happy. I thank the Almighty God for this success.
Now, back home, Asante Kotoko have moved into the top 5 of the Ghana Premier League after a 2-1 victory over Young Apostles in their outstanding fixture. The match looked set to finish level when Richmond Opoku cancelled out Hubert Jewu's early strike. But Captain Sambo O'Neill converted a controversial stoppage time penalty to seal all 3 points for the Porcupine Warriors. And that's how we wrap up the sports segment on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak.
All right, welcome back to the AM show. Well, let's do something we've not done before, but today we're going to talk about education as a transformative equalizer. And joining us is Elizabeth Amewuno. She's a level 400 PR student. And Mr. Godwin Kusi Dankwa, a CSR lecturer from the UPSA. Well, Mr. Dankwa, thank you for coming, and to you too, Elizabeth, right? I'm told you're doing a CSR project. I'm sure it's because of what your lecturer has taught you. But what exactly are you doing?
UPSA, as a professional school, the lecture us into the professional world. So as part of some of the courses we are doing this semester, we are doing CSR, corporate social responsibility. So they have decided not to make it just about the theory. So we are going outside to practicalize what we are being taught in the class. So we are going to be at Medina Cluster of Schools on the 21st of November to donate to the kids. So we are giving back to society, the society which we are in as an institution. So that's what we are doing. Okay.
So you are going to give what, books?
We are going to give books, pens, uniforms, school bags, shoes, a lot of things.
But aside the fact that you're being taught that and they want you to practicalize it, what is really moving you, students, to say, okay, we want to do this? And why that school in particular?
So I'll take the second one. So that school in particular, because as part of the course, there's something we do, and it's called need assessment. So before we go out, we don't just get up and then go out there to give out to any institution. So we do a need assessment. We sit back, do our research, and then see the schools that need our help the most. So we did need assessments in a lot of institutions. Then we finally settled on the Medina Estate cluster of schools. Because when we went there, we saw like situations that were not really comfortable. So we decided to go with them because they needed the help the most. And then what motivated us is, as students, we are mostly at the receiving end. Society is giving us, our parents are giving us, everybody is giving us. But then this time around, we decided to turn the scripts around and then give back to the society. So we have decided to be the givers instead of the receivers.
Okay, let me bring in Chief Godwin in. So as a lecturer, and you sit back looking at your student doing this, what is your expectation, one, and what does that bring to you? Someone who's teaching them the principles that they're implementing?
Thank you very much. I think that in the first place, the fact that students of University of Professional Studies go to the field to execute projects like this is in line with the core mandates of our university. Our university, University of Professional Studies, Accra, is the only university that trains people professionally. And so, like she rightly mentioned, as we train them into the corporate world, it shouldn't just be a theory aspect. The Vice-Chancellor of our university has this idea that beyond theory, there should be practice, so that the people that come into the corporate world do not become more or less half-baked graduates. And so it is a mandatory thing in UPSA that beyond theory, there is practice. We teach them CSR, and CSR is about how people go to do need assessment, to be philanthropic, and show the world that beyond business, there is a need that must be prioritized. And so for me as a lecturer and my lead, Professor Agyepong, the course is taught by two individuals. Professor Agyepong is the HOD of the Department of Communications, and she also teaches the course as a lead, and I'm a co-lecturer in the Department of Communication. We are so much happy that the students do not just assimilate what we teach them in the class, but they execute it. This is not the first time the students are doing this. It has been going on. Every year, when the Department of Communication students get to level 400 and it is time for them to do CSR, beyond the theory, they go to the field to execute the project. We are just people to guide so that they implement the exact things they have been taught in the classroom. This year's one has taken a very phenomenal pace because there are a lot of things that the students are doing themselves that we are so much happy about.
All right, I'm grateful and wish you all the best as you embark on this.
Thank you very much.
All right, so you had Elizabeth is a level 400 PR student, and Mr. Godwin is a lecturer at the Comms Department of UPSA. That's all the AM news. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please do stay. All right, welcome back to the AM show. Time for us to review what the papers are reporting. And beautiful Mfa Akosua-Agyepong T is on the smart wall with what the headlines are telling us. Hi, good morning.
Hello, Kojo. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
Okay. Very well. I could be better. But
your hair is by Hairs Alamode today.
Absolutely, always by Hairs Alamode.
Okay, that's where you always buy your hair.
Yes.
Hairs by Alamode.
Hairs Alamode.
Hairs Alamode in East Legon.
Dr. Jato had to announce himself.
I'll pay for the next one. That's why. So if he wants to join,
let's go to the headlines of the newspapers, Kojo. Let's start with the Ghanaian Times this morning. And 2026 year of infrastructure development. This is the president declaring this. The story is on page 12 of the Ghanaian Times. And also 38 property owners in Sunyani face legal action. Story is on page 3 of the Ghanaian Times. President pledges Ghana's support to host World Assemblies of God Congress next year. Is on page 11. And as well, block IFFS, block tax leakages to boost revenue generation. It says, well, has been talking about fallouts from the budget and is on page 12 of the Ghanaian Times. ECOWAS court rejects former CJ's interim relief application. And if you have been listening to her lawyer, you'd realize that interim application, they probably expected that it will be thrown out because, of course, the events which they were seeking an injunction on had already occurred. And so they were going to move to the substantive matter, which he says that it doesn't affect it in any way. And so that as well is in the Ghanaian Times this morning. And I'll take you to the back of the Ghanaian Times. Kokma outlines plans to redevelop Kimbu into modern mini park. Interested in that story is at the back page of the Ghanaian Times. And finally, Ghana to host 2025 Data Protection Africa Summit. It is at the back of the Ghanaian Times. Let's go to the Daily Guide. Daily Guide, 2 presidential jets as well, coppers as well, to cost 13.1 billion Ghana cedis. Helicopters, the 2 presidential jets and as well some helicopters to cost 13.1 billion. Abu Jinapor has been probing in Parliament. Story is on page 3 of the Daily Guide this morning. Unfortunately, yesterday I brought you that story of how 3 illegal miners die in Heath Goldfields concession. The Heath Goldfields actually also released a statement addressing this matter. And so if you're interested, if you go to myjoyaline.com, you get details of that. And again, ECOWAS cuts to hear Torkornoo removal case. It's also in the Daily Guide this morning. And RNAQ Foundation expands food bank to Cape Coast and Tamale. Well, if you're like me, and then you enjoy free food, and you're quite underprivileged and underserved like me, you're happy to be getting some good meal from RNAQ Foundation, as has been expanding. Of course, when people do good stuff, let's commend them. And so if you're in Cape Coast and you're in Tamale, at least rest assured that you will not be hungry. Congratulations to RNAQ Foundation. Story is on page 1 of the Daily Guide this morning. And we're working to extradite ex-Maxlock boss. Attorney General has been speaking in Parliament about this one. I shall take you to the insight Pan-Africanists demand total liberation of Africa in a bold Accra declaration at 5th Pan-African Congress as new framework unites African on reparatory justice as well. Forestry Commission's rejoinder on interdicted 2 stuff raises more questions than answers. You want to look out for that, our hotline documentary, our investigative piece that is coming soon in that sector. And of course, Bokoso Prestia workers demand immediate unpaid entitlement. That is what we brought you in the midday news yesterday. If you went on our portals, you will get details of that as well. Then Overseer, we are cleaning up the NPP's mess. Finance Minister tells Parliament. Government sets to recapitalize ADB as well. And government is expanding irrigation infrastructure nationwide to boost vegetable production. Eric Opoku, the Agric Minister as well, has been speaking. $400 million excessive Mahama projects. So Mahama rejects Christian Council proposal to continue National Cathedral. I'm not too sure that's exactly the account when the Christian Council met him, but he mentioned that the project is under some forensic audit and that you're waiting for that and that they'll proceed depending on that forensic audit. I'm not sure that it reported that it has rejected it totally. But of course, if you're still interested, you can read in the newspaper. The Vanguard, Kevin Autry to be released soon from Dubai. You may have seen some sort of rumors, which I am unable to confirm, that he has been granted a certain amount of bail. But if you want details of that story, it's in the Vanguard this morning as well. And illegal miners perish in Galamsey pit. I already brought you that story. But big one, Lumba's funeral sold for 4 billion Ghana cedis. East Legon Executive Baron grabs the offer. It will be an interesting read. I'm certain you will like it. You can. So I know that in the Ashanti region, I hear it's quite some big business. When some time ago, a tourism minister thought that let's monetize funerals in Ghana, there was some uproar in this country. But that's, I think the Ashanti region and Kumasi people understand this language. For 4 billion. Wow, I'm not sure you can sell this in Volta region. Omonto. All right, let's go. Sorry?
It depends on the person.
No, I mean, funerals are largely driven by culture and tradition. The Ashantis have it. They've established that you can sell that. But in the Volta region, no, it's not. I can tell you this for a fact. Not even Lumba.
Hey.
Do you understand what I mean? We don't monetize funerals. That's exactly what I mean. I will wrap with myjoyonline.com. So he should have resigned by now. Martin Pegu demands Special Prosecutor Kisi Ejabin's head. Oh, well, if you're interested in that story, of course, you should visit myjoyonline.com. So many other stories on myjoyonline.com. Kojo, that'll be it. That's how I'll wrap up the headlines.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. My regards to the Hes Alamode people.
I'll tell them.
All right. Okay. All right, let me come in studio. Dr. Zato. All right, so what's that? Oh, but if you say wait, there's a bit of I'm sitting here. You are. Okay. So let me introduce my guest to you. Dr. Joshua Zato is a political and policy analyst, a lecturer at the University of Ghana. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Naraya Sapon is Deputy General Secretary, United Party. Naraya Udimba Akwaba. Hamza, no, let me do Doctor, because Doctor follows. Dr. Ekwia Amuako is Deputy Spokesperson for the Dr. Bawumia campaign. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Kojo.
Thanks for coming here.
Happy to be here.
Hamza Souyini is lawyer and member of the NDC's communications team. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Of course, good morning to my colleagues in the studio.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get straight into the issues that we have on the table this morning. Now, there's several that we need to talk about. Of course, I think the biggest will be, well, one of them will be the Ofori-Atta OSP issues. Now, we understand that Ofori-Atta has, his name has been taken off the red alert of the Interpol, and there are several issues coming up. Hamza, you're a lawyer. Let me start with you. From where you sit, how do you understand what's happening?
From where I sit, my understanding of what is happening is a reminder to all of us that the time has come for us to begin having the difficult of all conversations, the relevance of the Office of Special Prosecutor. I remember as far back as 2016, many of us, especially those from the National Democratic Congress, asked pertinent questions about the relevance of that political promise by Nana Akufo-Addo and the MP. Because to us, we thought that it was a waste of time, it was a waste of taxpayers' money, and if not couched well, would eventually lead to a situation where its rule would be obstructive of justice rather than contributing to political accountability, especially when it comes to the fight against corruption. And for me, I feel vindicated about the OSP's role. You see, Kojo, I have a serious problem with the posture of this OSP. And I feel that as a country, the time has come for us to begin to have that difficult conversations. I was on another platform yesterday, and I had cause to raise concerns about these operations. And I'm told the spokesperson also, Dr. Zato, called into the program.
Dr. Zato is
I was on the same show with Dr. Zato.
Oh, okay.
And the spokesperson called into the program.
Of the OSP?
Yeah, I think so. Is it Sami
Dako?
Yes. Yes, yes. So he called and also attempted to explain the position of the OSP. But the mathematics is not mathing as we see out there. In the sense that, you see, the OSP indicated to the entire country that he needed the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta to carry out certain investigations. The gentleman was unwilling to cooperate with the OSP. At the back of that, he proceeded to place him on the Interpol Red Alert. Now, that was not enough. He subsequently wrote to the Chief of Staff indicating that he needed assistance to be able to put in an application to get Ken Ofori-Atta extradited to Ghana. That letter was referred to the Attorney General's office. We heard the Deputy Attorney General say that after meaningful engagements with the OSP, they were not successful in getting access to the docket that they themselves requested to help the process of getting Ken back to the country.
But the OSP came to explain.
The OSP's explanation was that they were preparing the docket.
Yes.
So if you were preparing a docket and you were not done with the docket, what was the motive behind the letter that was sent to the government through the Chief of Staff to assist the process to get him into the country?
But I'm happy you are a lawyer, because some people explain that you don't need the full docket to be able to put in an
That is not true.
Really?
That is absolutely false. You need that. Because at the request stage, where it will be considered, it will be treated as a mini trial. It could be treated as a mini trial. They would have to look into the matters before they can actually agree with you indeed to go through that long haul. Because it could be that you are just looking for the gentleman out of political persecution. So even the external authorities would need to be convinced that this is grounded actually in law and in matters of accountability.
Which looks like it is the case, and the reason is details.
Absolutely. Yesterday when I listened to him, he said that now that they have filed the charges, they are now going to request through the court processes for such an order to be given, based on which the order would be added to a docket and now sent for consideration for his possible extradition to Ghana. So if you knew that this was meant to be the process, why did you have to take the entire nation for a ride? Make no mistake, Kojo, I am convinced without any shadow of doubt that Ken Ofori-Atta has serious questions to answer, not just in relation to the SML, in relation to many other issues, including the ambulance saga and the payments that were made to Nanado's daughter. These are questions that he ought to be made to answer.
Is it made to a company or to Nanado's daughter?
Oh, okay. If you are not comfortable with my reference to Nonado's daughter,
I'll
replace it with
the
a company,
exactly.
with an association to that of that has an association with the daughter of Nonado. I think that covers you. Now, Kojo, so we should not make that mistake. I am convinced that Ken has serious questions to answer, especially when it comes to how he handled the economy of this country for more than 7 good years. And I consider his decision to abscond from this country under questionable circumstances unethical.
He wasn't well.
Oh, my brother.
You've seen the doctors.
Even at the time
and all of
that Ken was so unwell and his health status was visible in appearance, the gentleman flew back into this country and still continued to be finance minister when it was apparent on his face that this was a gentleman in health crisis. How long is it going to take for Ken to get back into this country, especially when he's seen roaming around the streets of the United States of America? How long is it going to take for him to fly back into this country and face accountability? Nobody is going to throw you behind bars. And it speaks volumes about the suspicions, especially the conduct of the OSP. It speaks volumes about the suspicions many are beginning to fly around, that this might just be a grand agenda by the OSP's office to actually obstruct the wheels of accountability.
But those many is led by you. I've seen your
but I believe so. That's why I'm saying that I believe so. Because I have looked at the 78 counts or so, and even before that, I read the SML report, and it was funny. Because at the end of the day, if he goes to court and he's not successful, it becomes practically and legally impossible for the Attorney General's department to be able to pursue Ken Ofori-Atta in relation to that same SML matter.
Are you saying that from what you read, he will fail in court?
From what I read, I have listened to the press conferences of the Attorney General, especially when he's making allegations of corruption against ex-government officials. He traces public resources, how it ends up in people's accounts, and how they have been able to recover properties. These evidences are made public to many of us through these public engagements. Unfortunately, in the case of the OSP, I have read the SML report, and I cannot see anything beyond insinuations.
Hey.
I'm being honest with you, especially when it comes to the likes of Ken.
Wow.
And because I cannot see anything beyond insinuations and assumptions, it becomes practically difficult for me to agree with the contents of his report, especially when it comes to complicity, without you giving us ample evidence. The only thing I see in the report is the likelihood of willful causation of financial loss to the state in relation to Ken Ofori-Atta. And if you look at Article 88.4 of the 1992 Constitution, undoubtedly, prosecutorial authority still in a way resides in the office of the Attorney General, even when it comes to the functions of the Office of Special Prosecutor. So I'm struggling to understand why the Office of Special Prosecutor is unwilling to cooperate with the Attorney General's department, especially when it comes to matters of this nature.
But when the
and
issues
his conduct so far shows unwillingness.
When the issues came up, they came to explain that they are willing to work with the Attorney General. And,
you think that if the Attorney General was not frustrated, the Deputy AG would have granted that interview?
Yeah, but beyond that, they solved it. Haven't they?
How has it been solved? Beyond that, we were told that the docket will be presented to the Attorney General.
Hasn't it been presented?
Absolutely not. Do you have information to the effect that has been presented?
Hey. You are with them.
So, I am not aware of any such information. Absolutely. And so, let us get it right. It appears that the Attorney General, the Office of Special Prosecutor, has rather become obstructive when it comes to issues of accountability. There are so many questions. I've had the opportunity of following the SML, what's the name? The Fourth Estate investigation into the SML matter. Like I indicated, there are so many grounds that you can
Let me ask this and then I'll move on. You are saying today that the OSP has not presented the docket to the Attorney General.
My information is to the effect that that has not been done.
Well, I'm sure we'll cross-check for
you. That can be cross-checked. That's what I'm saying, that is the information I have, that it has not been done. But you see, Kojo, let me conclude on this note so that my colleagues can come. As for many of us in this country, including certain members of the NPP, they know that the NDC's promise of resetting this country and ensuring accountability, especially when it comes to the stewardship of the previous managers of our economy, the accountability drive will not be meaningful. No matter the number of people we hold to account, if Ken Ofori-Atta is not part of that list. Because we all know, even in our private spaces, that the gentleman played an instrumental role when it comes to the management of our economy.
Exactly.
And issues of complicity as far as corruption allegations are concerned.
But for now, until proven in court, there are perceptions, right?
I agree with you, but that's why I'm telling you that, you see, politically, the government made promises that they will ensure political accountability.
That's fair.
We all, irrespective of how we feel, even about the OSP, we must not countenance this unhealthy posture of Ken.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
Not willing to cooperate with state institutions, especially when it comes to his role as finance.
Thank you. Let me bring in Dr. Mwako. Doc, so, I mean, for example, with his name being taken off the red alert list, does it suggest that probably his argument to the commission that looked into his application sought some merit in it, and that could also impact the case that we're pursuing in Ghana?
Well, I don't know about it impacting the case that we are pursuing in Ghana because the jurisdictions are different. But obviously that will paint a picture as to the substance that's the case that the OSP is presenting. I actually have the charge sheet here, very long, but I do not see anything that is overwhelming evidence. I don't know if that's I stand to be corrected.
Hamza says it's full of.
No, I stand to be correct. So reading it as a lay person, I would expect to see more. Maybe stealing. This was done here to steal that. But all I'm seeing is, I think, a figure of about 18 million cedis. So about 8 people conspired to misappropriate 18 million cedis, including Ken Ofori-Atta.
But the money is bigger. Maybe probably.
I'm seeing other ones, quoted, 15, blah, blah. No links to how this thing was done, like he was saying. And for me, I've always had a problem with the way and manner the OSP has handled this Ken Ofori-Atta situation. And I think it's very important for us to note that you may not like him, the former finance minister. He shepherded this country at a period where things were difficult. Understandably, a lot of people blame him or are upset with him. But that and being liable for a crime are two very different things. And I hope that we as Ghanaians and as the judiciary especially, we do not allow our biases to get in the way of doing what is right. You could, touch wood, this is just an assumption, you could have a problem with the way he ran the Ministry of Finance. You could not like the way he did some things. But are those things crimes? It looks like the NDC is on a deliberate rampage, essentially, to paint the NDC, to paint members of the Akufo-Addo government in a certain light to be able to perpetuate their own agenda. It takes some pressure off them if almost every month they come up to call this person corrupt or that other person corrupt. But to me, I don't think we should allow, especially the way and manner the OSP is doing it. Now we are publishing mug shots and everything. My problem with him actually started with the Mustafa Hamid case. So you're in court with somebody, the person makes a video basically sort of belittling the weight of the case you have against him. And immediately the OSP, you expect them to be very busy and to have a lot of things on their plates, but they have time to sort of do a social media rebut. That's when I saw that, I mean, obviously all cannot be well there. They don't seem to have their priorities and focus right. And from this issuance of Ken Ofori-Atta, and for me it's not even about Ken Ofori-Atta, you are impinging on the reputation of several civil servants who have risen to the heights of their career. I'm seeing the list of people charged, 66 former DRA bosses. and you're accusing them with these things, and it could just be to be able to smear Ken Ofori-Atta. I have no problem if he's done something wrong and you actually have proof of wrongdoing. Then you do these things the right way. This all also ties into the atmosphere that has been created by the NDC government since they took office. They first went after the Chief Justice. They have gone after a lot of former appointees with utterly ridiculous bail conditions. So an atmosphere has almost been created as if we're in a season of witch hunting. This whole thing also started with Nolly Prosecutor across board for almost all their people. So if we are seeking accountability or we are trying to do the right thing as a nation, shouldn't it be across board? Or now that the NDC is in government, accountability is only for those of the previous administration. We can even come to allegations of galamsey. Now almost every day we get allegations from members of the ruling NDC. Nothing is done about it. But there's always this focus to try and taint members of the previous administration in a very negative light. The last time we were here, we sat to talk about another contract that to me was, the abrogation of that was also very frivolous. And to be able to back that, there was a deliberate attempt by the sector minister to sort of come up with some wrongdoing to justify his action. And it's beginning to form a pattern. And I think in the midst of all of this, we have to be very cognizant of the fact that we are dealing with the human rights of people. In the end, all of this comes down to taking away a lot of rights from these people. So we have to make sure that those that we want to hang, essentially, are actually guilty of these crimes and deserve the treatment that they are going to get. We cannot turn this into a persecution state where, because it looks like there's a lot of I think if we go out right now and do like an approval rating for the former finance minister, he would not have a very high approval rating. That doesn't mean that he did something knowingly to cause financial loss to the state, or he stole from the state. Those are three different things that they need to establish to be able to go on the tangent that they are going on.
Grateful to you, Dr. Amako. Let me bring in Sapon. Nana, where do you stand in the OSP and Ken matter? Are you optimistic, or like other people, not optimistic?
Thank you very much, Kojo, and good morning to you. Before I come to the OSP, I just want to wish a comrade of mine, Hobson Yawa Adoye, a happy birthday. Director of Field Operations of the United Party. And of course, fair, not to mention his great contribution to the formation of our party and to the inspiration of many of us. But now, having said that, I think that I had made a stand on this already, and I have stated that personally, I do not a single day, trust Kisi Jabin and his team to do a good job when it comes to the Ken Ofori-Atta matter. I mean, with the draft they are playing with us, I do not foresee any good come out of this case. And this is very fundamental, all right? I mean, if you, from where it has started from, if you not even being a lawyer, you would understand that these are just games trying to delay the case with technicalities. All right, I mean, no one among
But why would he send a case to court and delay with technicalities?
He doesn't have a case.
Their lawyers are like that.
He himself, the one who's prosecuting.
They do. Ghana has a case, but the person who does the investigations and the person who does the prosecution can decide, all right, to play down the case and do mafia with the case.
But this is a serious allegation.
I'm not alleging. I'm saying that I do not trust him. I mean, doing this way allegation.
No. The fact that he could be downplaying or using technicalities to delay the case. Someone we've trusted to prosecute.
And I said, I don't trust him.
Okay.
I think trust is personal.
Okay.
And I am giving you reasons why I don't trust him.
Okay.
Number one. We're in this country when Ken Ofori-Atta left. If you knew very well, even before the elections, that people were calling for the head of Ken Ofori-Atta to answer questions. You sat aloof and allowed him to go.
But he's explained why. He says his uncle was president.
It means he's not even fit to be in office. If you cannot hold someone accountable because the person's uncle is president, and that because the security services were not cooperating with you, then it means you're not fit to be in office. Number two, where was his social media handle? Is that not the place they have been playing what's the gentleman's name? Sami Dako. He will call into the show right now. Just give him 30 seconds. He will call. If he doesn't call, he will write a long letter and place it on Facebook. Have you not been reading some? Let's not speak English. Let's bring it down. How many times have you not read him respond to unnecessary matters?
Where the unnecessary is, who determines the unnecessariness?
Look at the lawyer Martin Kpebu demands. I mean, so what? Then you would invite him to invest to do what? When there are serious matters, when Ghanaians are concerned about their money, that we feel and we think that somebody has stolen our money, somebody has misappropriated our money, and we say that you are in charge of corruption and corruption-related activities, then you come and you be following other matters.
Yesterday, a professor said that if that is the case, then he doesn't have the mandate to have invited Martin Kpebu.
How do you invite Martin Kpebu? For what? We're in this country. When he said, I think it was on this show, when he was talking about the charges, the docket not being completed and a whole lot of things not being, and I said that, listen, wherever you have gotten to with the investigations, that you were able to invite, arrest, and then bail the others. In that same vein, if Ken is not willing to come back, listen, charge him online. Try him online. If he is guilty, we would know. If he is not, we would know. They came up with flimsy excuses, holding press conferences, and you expect me to trust him? I mean, Hamza is here. He knows. Lawyers do these games sometimes. You understand me? They play technicalities to delay and they will mess up your case. Okay. Are we saying that we do not know where Ken Ofori-Atta is?
We know.
Are we saying that Kisi and his lawyers do not know that when they wanted to trigger the extradition of Ken Ofori-Atta, it had to go through the office of the Attorney General? I am not a lawyer, but at least this is black and white. What made him, a lawyer as he is, write to the office of the Chief of Staff and not the office of the Attorney General to expedite the processes for his extradition? Is that not some of the technicalities?
Okay.
The Chief of Staff had to minute the letter, redirect it to the office of the Attorney General. And this is common knowledge. Everybody here knows. But Sami Daku will come and explain, speak English to us.
Okay.
Please, you see, we are talking about money here. And I have said it. I will not be interested in anybody. But if Ghana has been graciously, the honor we give Ken, haven't appointed him as our finance minister, we should do us the same and come and account to the same people.
But he's explained that he's undergoing, he's recuperating from
whatever he's undergoing. I am not a medical doctor. I do not think it's way much greater than that which he went through some years back, some 2-3 years back. And I met him at Kempinski. And when his pictures even came out, people were scared for his life.
All right.
I do not think that whatever he went through at that material moment is greater than what he's going through. Okay. And of course, experts have explained that even with the procedure he underwent and he undertook, it should not have taken him more than a week for him to recover.
But his lawyers will be ready to go to court. They've explained that they are ready to go to court.
We don't have a problem him going to court. But as I said earlier, and I would repeat myself today, this Ofori-Atta case is a test of Ghana's own effort and commitment to fair and equal trial and equal justice to everybody.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful. Let me bring you Dr. Joshua Zato here. I mean, sitting and listening, and also following what has been happening between the OSP and Ken. And now the OSP says that because of the charges and plus other matters, his name will also be back on the could possibly be back on the red alert list. Do you also have the conviction that probably this is much ado about nothing, just as I've heard around the table today?
Thank you very much. This is the birthday of Honorable Mohammed Bataglia. He's the Member of Parliament for Sosala East and my MP. Honorable, happy birthday. We are young one. When I was working at Fertilizer, when I got there, you have moved a mokpara move. Yeah, Miss Long Vina, Mr. Mokpara. I'm a very young one. Happy birthday to you, Mohammed. May you continue to shine. Yes.
They are not.
That's my friend, yes.
Okay, so I've said something else. So, General Lanokoli, once more, Helena, less than it's something different. Okay, so happy birthday. Thank you. When I come back and say, look, I want to believe that, and it's my solemn conviction that the office of the Special Prosecutor has outlived its usefulness. It is increasingly becoming a relic. A very young organization is increasingly becoming a relic. And I seriously believe that its continuous existence is not justified. If you just do a simple value for money analysis...
Sorry, I need to cut you here. Are you talking about the person or the office?
And what the person has done to the office as it stays now.
Is it relevant?
It's irrelevant. If you just do a simple, I'm convinced that if you do a simple value for money, looking at how much money we've put into that office and the expectant savings or the expectant recoveries or the expectant anti-corruption, this is what we have not, the country will not be making a profit. The country will not be breaking even. Secondly, that office has now refused to strike fear in the hearts of people or public servants. That was what it was supposed to be. And so that corporate entity, I want to believe strongly that its relevance, its continuous relevance, is now a drain on the national budget. The amount of money put there could have helped to fix the Tumu roads. The amount of money put there could have helped to fix, to help farmers in Tumu now who cannot get markets to sell their maize, to sell their soya beans. The amount of money put there could have helped to build a number of primary schools and renovate places in my hometown. It has not happened. So it's my firm conviction that that office has outlived its usefulness and that its continuing existence is just a drain on the national coffers. 1. 2, I have the charges that people are talking about. If you have a story about it, it represents to me something called a Hail Mary true. As a Catholic, the Hail Mary is one of the most powerful prayers we do. In sports analogy, faint Twitter heroes across the street will tell you, in the NFL, to throw a Hail Mary is almost like a last-minute attempt. You are down, the clock is down, you just throw it, hoping to hit something. Even in football, it happens. Remember, it's 90 minutes, the referee says, you have the ball wherever, just throw it, hoping that something happens. And I believe that these charges are a Hail Mary true to save his job. The Hail Mary, because there are powerful forces and voices that are calling for his job. There are powerful forces whose voices are heard on the corridors of the Jubilee House. There are powerful voices whose voices the Jubilee House cannot ignore, that have publicly come out to call for his job. And so in an attempt to save his own behind, I can't use us, can I? No. He's saying, here, he just throws these charges out. He said, hey, you thought I was not doing it. Hey, now you see, 78 charges, I'm doing something, I'm doing a lot. Save his behind. And I am saying, that's what I'm saying, it's a Hail Mary true. Hoping that his critics will see this and say, okay, finally, he has brought something. Finally, this is a big fish. Because if you look at this whole thing from January up to now, it has been this drip, 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 drip. And that drip, drip, drip has exhausted, the political capital in it has been exhausted. Ken Ofori-Atta's name has been dragged through the mud. Every day Ken Ofori-Atta. Every day Ken Ofori-Atta. And people have asked. All of a sudden, you're like, hey, guess what? I'm going to charge you, even though you are not here. Whatever happened to the habeas corpus? I hope I'm pronouncing it well. So
can you help him?
We know what it is. Go on.
Whatever happened to the habeas corpus claims you made? Whatever happens to the claims that unless he is here in person, I won't charge you? Whatever happened to that? Then you rush to issue a red alert. And now we have been told that the processes to even get there is not there. So the alert has temporarily taken off. Even if it's not taken off, couldn't you have done this then? Because remember, his lawyers have always said that we are available. You charge him, we will come. In this day and age, the United Nations even conduct serious diplomacy via Zoom. Haven't they?
They do.
Governments all over the world are conducting cabinet meetings via Zoom. Businesses are transacting multi-billion-dollar contracts through Zoom. Zoom and technology have now become a way for us to do this things. And our head is so many jurisdictions. Technology has now made it possible that people can be charged, prosecuted, and sentenced without even setting foot in court. All this technology was there. So if the man says he's sick, he has given you notice that he's sick. The family has told you he's sick. Why don't you take him on? Why don't you say, okay, you are sick? Let's Zoom. 2, when you say, okay, you are sick, you know what? I will send 2, 3 of my investigators from almost I will come. I'll come meet you if you are strong enough. Come and meet you. You see, you exhaust all these things. So that when you are done, then you can say, you didn't come for the Zoom. Our investigators came, you didn't meet them. We have exhausted all the legitimate means of having you. And it didn't work. Precisely because of that, now we are going to issue a red light. I can understand that. Interpol can understand that. FBI can understand that. But if your first go-to step is a red alert, then it means that you are rather trying to cover something else. So my point is that once you now go all this far, you hit this wall, come back, then you saw that there was some bickering between him and the Attorney General. And I'm asking myself a question. Look, if you're an arm's length organization, we teach it, if you're an arm's length organization and you have a mother organization, the last thing you want is to what? Seem to be picking public fights with your mother organization. The last thing you want to do that, because especially if you need their cooperation, and sometimes you need their money, sometimes you need their legal covers. Even though you're arm length, that's the point I've made. Arm length means that you have operational, policy, or legal autonomy from that mother organization. But still, you don't do that because you realize that you may need them. If you remember, go back. This office when it started, initially, Honorable Martin Amido had similar fights with the then, is it CID or ECOWAS? Or the police service in general. There were just fights about dockets not coming or not going. That is a similar thing because if you look at the work that the OSP was doing, it's supposed to depend on a number of organizations. Some of them cohesive, some of them investigative, to help you do your work. So you need to build very good relationship with that ecosystem. So that at any time, if you need something, you can call the CID boss, you can call the ECOWAS boss, you can call the AG, and they will do you a favor to help you do your work. You need to have that better relationships.
Okay.
So far, he has poisoned the ecosystem. And so it looks like the AG is not prepared to now stick out his neck to protect you. So it's like, okay, you are independent, go. And when you do that, it comes to where we are today, that so much money has been sunk into an office, a lot has happened, you've got the public will, you've got everything, and now we are seeing that the returns on that investment is zero.
Okay, all right. Okay. I'm grateful to you.
Yes,
I will just give you 30 seconds.
Yeah,
because
30 seconds.
I need to move.
I need to respond to the 2 of them. You have given me 2 NPP spokespersons. It is only fair you give me.
We only have 1 NPP
then
spokesperson.
you also have 2 NDC spokespersons.
No,
Dr. Zato.
Please.
Then UP plus 2 NDC and
I'm surprised it took this long for him to come to that.
UP plus is also NDC and next.
So it is only fair.
I thought he was going to start with it.
Hamza.
In fact, in principle,
I can only give you 1. We need to move on.
In principle, by now I would have been saying something.
Yes, go on.
Smaller political parties.
You could say that.
You were doing that. Then it's true you were giving the EC and
Please, Hamza is on the floor.
You see, Nana, can I feel? Listening to my sister, Dr. Ikuya, and that of Dr. Zato this morning, I was a bit lost as to what they actually stand for in principle. You see, many of the terrible decisions of the last regime, it is not the Ghanaian people who are facing it today. It is the same NPP appointees and those who champion these decisions are those criticizing the relevance of many of these institutions and decisions that they made. When they were talking about OSP and decided to brand it as an institution intending to target ex-NDC appointees, we cautioned them.
Oh, but that was not the intention.
That was the intention. It was clear. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia made promises on the back of allegations they made against Mahama appointees. Let us not pretend in this.
But
country.
the OSP was going to be in that.
And we told them, yes, and we told them that they needed to hasten slowly. And that if there's anything at all that they should be thinking, it's about how to empower the Attorney General's office.
I need to move on. So what's your point?
No. The point I'm making is that today, my brother says the office is irrelevant.
You've said
I agree. But this kind of politics of only coming to the table when it suits them is something we must condemn. Because we have watched so much of our taxpayers' monies down the drain.
Even when they agree with you. Okay.
Listen, he also made the accusation. Please, Kojo, I won't allow you to rush me.
No, we don't have time now.
If I would use all my time on this issue, I would be more than willing to do that.
No, you need to tackle other issues too.
He is also sought to create an impression that there are big players in the Jubilee House who are after the gentleman. You see the contradiction in terms of interplay.
But there's a campaign to get him out.
Please.
Which I've seen you even share on social media.
There's no campaign to get him out. The campaign has always been focused on the relevance of that office. And I am not an appointee of the Jubilee House. I'm a member of the National Democratic Congress.
You are not an appointee.
I'm not an appointee of the Jubilee House. And so my positions on national issues should not be mistaken as that of the official position of government.
Okay. All right.
And you see,
thank you very much.
No.
Thank you, Hamza.
Kojo.
I'm giving you 2 minutes.
Kojo, no. You see, he sought to create an impression, and I expected you to interrogate that. That there are people in the Jubilee House who want the gentleman out, and so he's doing everything to please them. Even those of us who are sympathetic to the activities of the Jubilee House and the party have raised concerns, not today. In fact, we raised those concerns from day one about the conduct of the OSP.
You've explained. You're saying that's
My
not
sister
true.
also made
it's not true. Let's
we
move
are
on.
talking about
Let's move on and deal with the Torkornoo issue. Let's move on.
Unless, of course, you want me to go out.
Why?
No, because I need to respond to many of these allegations. Please.
You've debunked the claims. So let's move on.
Dr. Ekwia makes the point. We are talking about the OSP and the fact that there's the need for us to critically examine his conduct so far. We have done so dispassionately in the interest of the nation.
Thank you.
I could have taken a partisan position.
Okay.
But
thank you.
I heard my sister make references to issues of Galamsey.
Your point is well made, Hamza. You disagree with her?
No, it's not well made.
Hamza,
why are you doing that?
We have 2 issues we have to move on to.
No, but it is not right.
ECOWAS court has rejected former CJ's interim leave application. You are a lawyer. We need to discuss that. What's in it for Torkornoo? Really?
That is what you want to discuss. My interest for being around this table is to protect the image of the government.
But that is why we invited you here.
Yes, my interest is to protect the image of the government.
But
and you did not invite me here to sit aloof and allow people make disparaging remarks.
But you've done that. You've clarified.
How have I clarified?
You said that's not the point.
That is okay.
Okay, 10 seconds, go on.
Why are you doing this morning? Now, she makes references to issues of Galamsey and also proceeded to talk about bail bonds. What has bail bonds got to do with the government?
We'll come to that.
We have an independent judiciary that many of you, even at the time you were in government, told us that if we had issues with your activities, we should go to court because you had confidence in the independence of the judiciary.
So let's stay in the
Many of the judges we are appearing before were judges appointed by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Thank you very
Give
much.
me an example of
You've
a judge
explained.
who has sat on a case to issue ad bail
that
you consider problematic. Why are you doing this?
Oh, but Hamza, I want us to continue to stay in the court. Is the court you are referring to?
I'm sure your listeners and viewers are watching, but you see, you are being unfair.
Oh.
But now, on the issue of Galamsey,
you've had 2 bites. Everyone has had one. Galamsey? It's fine. Let's move on.
No, but it is not proper for us to all have our rights of reply. I don't have a problem with that. We can.
Now, okay, so you follow the issue with the CJs trying
No, then
to
you may want to start with them. Okay. Because I've realized that you have an agenda that I don't understand.
Hamza, you have had the most time to talk.
You have had, second bites. Everyone has had this one.
Having the most time to talk.
Nana, maybe I'll start with you. Now, the CJ ran to ECOWAS, the ECOWAS court, to seek an interim injunction on processes to appoint a new CJ. The court says that, no, we disagree with you. And the court stated that Justice Torkornoo had failed to demonstrate urgent or exceptional circumstances to justify filing the application nearly 3 months after the action she complained of. I mean, what's in the ruling for Justice Torkornoo?
Thank you very much, Kojo. I believe that when matters of this nature come, we are supposed to discuss it without
Sorry, let me allot the time so that everybody knows that this is your time that you're dealing with. I'll give you 5 minutes on this topic. Let's move on.
And your time is 7 what?
It's mine is 7:58.
Okay. 6 seconds. Let's start. So I'll start in at 7:59.
Let's go. 58.
So, I'm using your timer here. We do this discussion without political colors.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it is Ghana that suffers. You understand me? I believe that if we allow processes to go through properly without jumping on political colors and machines to move, we would have a very good system that we can operate with. Okay. So we would come and agree on matters, but yet we would point accusing fingers and try to say that people are manipulating or people have peculiar interest, and for which reason they take decisions and for which reason they say whatever they want to say. And I think that was something that Hamza was even trying to deal with when Zato was saying that people in Jubilee House have interest in this whole office of the special prosecutor. What he has here. We all agree that the office has outlived its youthfulness. We all agree that the establishment of it, the reason why we established it, is not being fulfilled. So why don't we scrub it off? We make these commentaries a lot. And when we do with an understanding, we should not wear it political colors. Drawing it into Torkornoo's case. When this whole brouhaha started, I had said that when these lawyers try to play technicalities with us, as a nation, we are those that would suffer. And we need to take very decisive and firm decisions against these individuals. Kojo, I posed a question many months ago. I said that we have Article 146. I wanted any lawyer in this country to pinpoint to me, because I am not a lawyer, that there is any clause in that article in the Constitution that has been breached. No single person was able to pinpoint. I asked again, is there any process that has not been followed? Nobody was able to pinpoint that to me. And then I came back and I said that if there is even anybody who has breached Article 146 and the court procedures that I know of, then it is the former Chief Justice herself, when she came out to hold that press conference, because she actually addressed the press with details of the committee. And I posed a question that if anyone had done that, an accused in her court had done that and had come back to the court the following day, what would have been her comment before the trial? Kojo, you think that ECOWAS would sit and say that our entire judicial system should come to a halt because of a single individual? No. ECOWAS court understands litigation, and they understand and they see a litigant when they see one. The third arm of government, the judiciary. The person who acts as a Chief Justice is not only a position. The person is the administrator, the lead administrator of our judicial services, and the chief supervisor of our judicial system, per the article that establishes the office of the Chief Justice. And so, if we do not have a Chief Justice as a country, the entire judicial system comes to a standstill because nobody would be there to ensure the administrative growth of the system.
But that's not the argument of the court. The court says that if you say
if
you say that
so I'm coming.
if you are claiming for
they were talking about agency.
Eminent, exactly.
That's what I'm talking about. So you will sit, watch the process for 3 months, and then you file. That is how litigants behave. At the end of Kwakugua, not the Abeshaho. How many court cases does she have now?
But the court itself is willing to listen to
the main
issue. Yes.
Of course,
and
we are talking about the fact
responses.
that the judicial service cannot come to a halt because of an individual. The processes must continue.
But if you listen to the argument of the court, if she had come the time the application, the whole process had started, they could have listened to her.
When I was making my submissions, I said that they understand the processes and the steps of litigants. If she had gone earlier, probably by now it would have been done and dealt with. We wouldn't be here today. And I asked you a question, how many court processes has she filed? I'm told they have about 6 or so court processes being filed or in
so land for me.
So
your time is up.
You see, we would move from case 1, go to case 2, go to case 3, and then this judicial system of this country would be at a standstill, just waiting for one individual to finish litigation.
Thank you very much.
But I had also stated that I enjoy how she and her lawyers are managing and taking Ghana through a certain school, so that as a nation, we would all sit down and understand if indeed there is a need for us to have a review of 146, and if there is a need for us to indeed have a particular set procedure for this whole processes that we are undergoing.
Dr. Zato, what's the lesson in it, or what is in it for Justice Torkornoo herself and the nation?
Thank you very much. I have my position and my ideas on this Torkornoo case are well noted, well documented, everything. And I have stated, and I believe strongly that the removal of Justice Torkornoo through a highly charged, super partisan political process is one of the biggest achievements of the NDC.
How partisan was it when
very partisan, completely partisan and political.
Judges were the ones who were appointed to
completely partisan political. I can go through that process for you. Look, as I sit down with you here, do you know that there are petitions at the Jubilee House since January for the removal of EC? Do you know that? Do you know that you reported on those petitions? What has happened to them? Why are they locked up there? Why? Meanwhile, in fact, some of these petitions went there before the removal of Chief Torkornoo. Why is it that the Torkornoo's case has been taken and completed? Those petitions started, nothing has. Why?
So you want the EC to
No, I'm saying that.
See,
the power. See, he talked about the law. It's true. There are legal processes, but we've forgotten that there are forces. There is a force. The students of physics talk about motions, laws of motion. There are forces. There is a force in the Jubilee House that should move that petition to the appropriate quarters. That force is politics. So that is why they are certain that they've not gone. You tell me why.
But you have issues with it if it's
my point is, so that's what I'm saying. So it is the forces that can move a petition away from Jubilee House to the appropriate quarters to either establish prima facie or not. That force is politics. That's my definition of that policy. So so that when they put Jubilee House wants the case to go on, that force works with Usain Bolt speed to get the process done. When it doesn't want that to happen,
let's take it one after the other. Let's take it one after the other. Now, in all of those
I wanted to talk about the substantive case now.
Yeah, in all of those times, we had an acting CJ.
Yes.
Are you saying that now, if they move the Electoral Commission issue, the petition, as you talk about, to the CJ, because now we have a substantive one, to look into, that would mean that they were playing politics with it?
I'm saying that the fact that you received 2 petitions and then you chose one to go with supersonic speed and you left one is partisan. The decision to do that was also a political decision.
Anyway, make your point.
Thank you. Now we go to this. Look, Torkornoo has been going to Ghanaian courts again and again, and so far the score there has been 0. No court in this country has ever ruled anything remotely supporting her. I don't know. Maybe there's a lawyer, he may tell me that, Torkornoo won this. But in this particular ruling from the ECOWAS, I think the score is 2-1. One, the Attorney General won the agency case. The people are saying that, look, hey, by the time you are coming, all the damage has been done. We cannot undo the damage. That's true. But that is the victory for the Attorney General. But one, he won victory because the first thing was that the Attorney General said that the ECOWAS court, and before when she went there, I heard this argument from lawyers whether they had jurisdiction. Yeah. ECOWAS says, one, we have jurisdiction. That was 1-1. Two, not only do they have jurisdiction, ECOWAS also told Attorney General, open your defense. That is two. In other words, ECOWAS believes that some fundamental human rights issues were breached, that the woman has suffered some human rights injuries. That's what they are saying. That is, if not, they would have dismissed.
Don't allow this.
But your argument would have held if there was judgment that indeed.
No, but they say that.
When they say open your case, it doesn't mean.
But it means that a prima facie. Okay, does that mean the prima facie has been established?
No. They want to listen to the argument.
So no. So, okay, I will agree with Naraya. I agree. So if it's not true, I will agree with you. No worry, I'm not a lawyer. I don't argue on cases that.
It's not about. You are saying the prima facie has not been established. Talking about the establishment of prima facie.
So the court. So okay, that Nana, I've agreed with you. I've agreed with you, and I've withdrawn.
We have a lawyer here.
I've agreed with you, and I've withdrawn that. You see, I don't want. I'm not. I've agreed with you, so that has not happened. Withdrawn that. But something else. The ECOWAS has said that. Open your defense. That for me is also a victory for the woman, because now the state of Ghana has to now show that they did not breach her human rights, right? And for me, that is the good part. Look, these laws sometimes when they sit on our books for a very long time, nobody breathes life into them. They're just collecting dust. But this woman is prepared to make sure that every legal angle in this process is exhausted to its fullest degree. And I think that the legal system in Ghana will be better for us. I believe that it will be better for our legal jurisprudence. I believe that it's better for students of law. It's better for teachers of law. Because when you have these cases that have been determined, then they add to the general corpus of the law available to us. And I'm sure that tomorrow, if you're embarking on a similar thing, then it will be made sure that these things will serve as precedents. And these things will serve as what? Background. People will read it so that if we made mistakes, they will not make them. And it will help what? Enrich our law. And I'm also saying that because of this thing, the office of the CJ has become overly politicized now. We have a certain CJ now, and everybody I've spoken to say he's an excellent jurist, a very fine man. And that he deserves that office. He qualifies for it. Everything shows that probably this man was literally born for that office. Because if we look at his appointments throughout, done by bipartisan governments, and then you see what politics has done. This man deserves to have been heard by both the majority and minority, great on the law, these things before he goes. But you see what has happened. And that's what I'm saying.
But with your own argument, where does politics play a role? You say that the man is a fantastic
yes, no,
judge.
But that's what I'm saying. It's because the fruit of the political process of removing the man. The woman. So the woman was removed, and because of that, if you look at the decision by the minority to boycott this and to walk out of this, and it all stems from the way they also believe that the woman was removed fairly, and that the woman still had cases to a court to stop it. I'm saying that assuming none of this happened, assuming it was just an ordinary, boring, let's say, retirement of a chief justice, and the government had just appointed a chief justice, none of this would have happened. Going forward, my fear now is that any new government coming inside will come with their own CJ. That's my fear. That this process has now been... Because look, before this, if you ask me, I thought that the removal of a chief justice was almost impossible. I thought it was extremely so difficult that because of that, nobody will attempt or nobody will try it. But the events of this have told me that you need roughly about 5 months to get a new CJ out and bring a new one in. The events of this have now convinced me that it is not difficult to remove a chief justice of Ghana. And so I'm tempted to believe that precisely because of how easy and simple is it to remove the chief justice, that any government coming inside may be forced or compelled or will see political leverage, political opportunity, and bring their own chief justice. So we are going into territory that we don't know. And my point is that what will be the effect of this on the independence of the judiciary going forward? It might be compromised. And I hope that cooler heads will prevail going forward, that people will sit down and say, look, let this Torkornoo case be an aberration. Let this Torkornoo case be an isolated case. But going forward, we can do better and we should do better.
Thank you very much.
So, Doc, you want us to be the bigger people?
Let me bring in Hamza now. Hamza,
and I will have. Let me listen to them. They are from the opposition. If government, I will respond before you say I don't have the right of response.
Hamza, you can't. I give you all the time.
So I should keep quiet and allow.
Let me listen to you. Now, must we must this process get us to tweak the provision in the Constitution that has to do with the removal of the CJ, just so we don't...
We have always maintained that, even around this table, that if there's a need for us to look at our constitutional provisions, not just in relation to Article 146, any other constitutional provision that we feel needs to be tweaked, the law allows us a certain process to do so. And around this table, I've had the benefit of also informing you and your viewers that our constitution has been said to be a living organism, meaning there's an opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
And you can make such meaningful incursions in terms of expanding the frontiers of our constitutional provisions, either through a constitutional amendment process or sometimes an expansive explanation of the law as contained in the Constitution through judicial decisions. So there is that opportunity for growth. So if anybody feels strongly about the way Article 146 is being applied in this country, it is within your constitutional democratic right as well to demand that we have a second look at that particular provision and any other provision whatsoever in the Constitution. So that point needs to be made. This government and the NDC as a party will not stand on the way of any Ghanaian expressing views as to how certain constitutional provisions should be made to work. But, Nana, Kojo, I listened to Dr. Zaki. It was exciting listening to him because, first of all, when it comes to decisions of courts like the ECOWAS court, one thing you need to understand, and let me introduce this caveat. I've not had the opportunity of reading the entire judgment. All what I've seen is news portals reporting on the said judgment. And so one can be forgiven to run on the basis of that to begin to score who has gotten 2 and who has gotten 1. But in law, it is basic that when a motion is filed and you have issues about the jurisdiction of the court to hear the matter, you are allowed to raise matters of jurisdiction without necessarily responding to the motion that has been filed. Okay. And that was what the Attorney General did. The Attorney General did not respond to the motion of the removed Chief Justice, Justice Torkornoo. What he sought to do was to question the jurisdiction of the ECOWAS court to determine the matter at a time that many aspects of the matter clearly had some roots within many of our courts in the country. The ECOWAS court says that, look, we have jurisdiction. And after asserting jurisdiction, the only logical thing a judge will do is to direct you to file your response.
And that's what they did.
And that's what they did. So it does not in any way suggest that by virtue of that directive, Torkornoo, in a way, or according to the court, there was basis for the allegations being filed against Torkornoo. No, the issue in contention was jurisdiction. And that was decided that, look, we have jurisdiction. And so let's respect it. Again, my brother raises issues about political insinuations as far as the removal process is concerned. Kojo, we're all in this country. When the MPP, through Article 146, removed Charlotte Osei from office, indeed, at the heat of the campaigns, they made promises that they were going to clean up the EC because they felt that, yes, there was something in opposition, unless you didn't follow them. Indeed, they came heavily against Madam Charlotte Osei.
Can readily recall.
Yes, they did. And so when they came, they actioned those promises because they believed that there was something wrong with the Electoral Commission. They just didn't succeed in removing one electoral commissioner. They swept the slate clean, the commissioner and her 2 deputies.
But you were in this country. If you hear that what was happening, would you have maintained them where they were?
Yes, because we maintained them in any case. We felt that there was nothing wrong with it and that the agenda was driven by politics. They were convinced that these people had to go. The NDC respected the outcome of their investigations, the outcome of the decision to establish a prima facie case by the then CJ, and the subsequent removal of Charlotte Osei. We respected it. Now, fast forward, the same Article 146, even before President Mahama became president, was invoked and petitions sent to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo against the same Chief Justice, who has been removed. Petitions didn't start flying with the Mahama presidency. It predates Mahama presidency when it comes to Justice Torkornoo.
And the Council of State didn't find a premises.
So I'm just building a point. Okay. This is not the first time President Mahama has received a petition.
Your time is up. So
no, are you the host of the program?
No, he's not.
All of you. So
he's not. I've checked the time.
So who gave the time?
Myself, I did.
Kojo, I don't think that you wanted me to come on this show today.
Oh, Hamza.
How many minutes did you
Hamza,
give?
5 minutes. You've spoken for about 8 minutes.
Oh, Hamza. But you, why are you like this? I gave you the time. I watched
8 minutes. No, I'm losing the timer here.
But let me land. Let me land.
Land for me.
Let me land.
No, we all
because I'm a lone ranger in this.
Everyone is a lone ranger on
No, they are not. They are from the same tradition.
Okay.
But you see, Nana, Kojo, the most important thing is that the Article 146 we are talking about today. In the past, we had petitions flying against a Chief Justice. By no means a person, but even a retired Supreme Court judge. President Mahama then did not act, even though that Chief Justice was the one who presided over the incarceration of one of our respected lawyers in this country and a proud member of the National Democratic Congress, Chachu Chikata. President Mahama did not activate or establish a prima facie case in relation to Georgina Woods. That was never done. That is principle. The same MPP accusing us of doing politics with it use Article 146. Yes, I'm London. They use Article 146 against Loretta Lamte, a Mahama appointee. President Mahama looked at the content of their petition and acted based on it. That eventually led to the removal of Loretta Lamte, his own appointee. What is the politics today? If the same president receives Article 146 and follows through the entire processes of Article 146 to get Georgina Wood, what's the name? Torkornoo, and based on the recommendations of the committee, Torkornoo has been removed.
Thank you.
The point I want to make finally on the matter is that, Kojo, we can all decide to run political commentary on the matter. The woman is doing the right thing by invoking our domestic laws and invoking international laws to assert her right. Let us respect that. And as a government, we have not done anything suggestive of the fact that we are against these attempts by Torkornoo to assert her right. Indeed, the government would be more than willing to support that initiative.
Thank you.
But when it comes to petitions, we would have no choice. If petitions are filed under Article 146 and there's merit in it, why wouldn't we run away from responsibility?
I have to talk to some of your teachers.
Yeah, no. Attended a school called never taught them summary.
Only a Tamil boy can say that and get away free. Only a Tamil boy. That's what I'm saying. Only a Tamil boy can say that and get away free.
And interestingly, today we are in charge of running the country. Even the president and first lady.
But you know he started from.
The president and
the president started from Damascus.
You see, people, these guys are interested in.
The president started from Damascus.
We are having our 65th anniversary this weekend. So you are invited to.
So the president will be there.
The president started from Damascus.
Even those who are in Francis Xavier Junior Seminary are not talking. You are talking.
I'll tell Ibrahim Muhammad that you said school is not a school.
Even those who went to Xavier are not talking.
It's fine.
It's enough hours.
It's fine.
Xavier is better than Ghana school.
How can Xavier be better than Ghana?
Come on.
When the president and first lady are speaking.
Your president and first lady. Then let's give it to Prempeh College.
We Prempeh.
If you're talking about president, let's give it to president. If you're talking about president, let's give it to the college. Anyway, so the first thing I want to, because I know I will not be giving a right of response, let's not sit here and pretend like people in NDC do not want Hisia Jabin's job. anybody that has their ear to the ground in this
Oh,
matter
we've moved on.
knows
No,
what's going on.
no,
That's all I'm saying.
We've moved on. Let's go.
That's all I'm saying. There.
Why I had to come in?
I have moved on.
No, but he responded. But let's not play around that thing. Everybody knows what's happening.
So you could get a job. That would be a very good appointment.
No, but that would be very confounding.
No, that would be a good appointment.
For who?
You.
No.
You don't want it. Oh. Okay.
So let's go
I'll
to
send lobby for you.
the substantive matter of the
I'm not qualified to sit in
of the former CJ. Anyway, that one I'll tell you after. I think a lot of things have been said about this matter, and we've spoken about it on this table several times. What is clear to all of us here and to all Ghanaians was that this was not a simple matter of rule of law or, allowing the processes to go through. This was a predetermined, pre-calculated attempt by the NDC in opposition to come into government and defile the judiciary of this country. It's something, surprisingly, they've been able to execute and get away with. And I'm actually very happy that the former Chief Justice is going through all the processes to at least establish that she was not treated fairly. And I think that's exactly what we are getting from the decision of the ECOWAS court. Because not only did they establish that they had jurisdiction over the matter, they also found a prima facie case to hear the matter. So I think we should all be very interested to see how those processes pan out. I don't know how we can all sit here and pretend like it's business as usual. Firstly, I was very surprised that Hamza, who is a lawyer, so he falls in under the remit of the judiciary, wants to sit here and equate the Chief Justice, the head of the judiciary, to a former EC chair. Number two, the circumstances that were surrounding the removal of Charlotte required
is actually more important for democratic stability than the judiciary.
When we are talking about the three arms of government, do you see electoral commission?
That is your misconception.
No. When we are talking about the democracy over this country,
there's no democracy. There's no democracy.
Let me tell you,
the arms of government. If you have an electoral commission that is comatose.
Okay.
We are not saying the electoral commission. We're not saying the electoral commission is irrelevant. But you cannot to make your own point. You cannot. You cannot to just make your point. Want to equate the two.
No, in terms of the judges. Where does the Electoral Commission chairperson?
I am telling you.
Isn't High Court or something?
Yes.
Where does she come in?
High Court. So what are you?
So it means that the Supreme.
So you are comparing apples and oranges.
About the institutions, not the personalities.
With the removal of. Let me come on that.
Who is Torkornoo?
I'm
telling you that the electoral commission is like
let her have a time to allow the woman.
It's not an arm of government. You cannot sit here one day and decide to make it an arm of government. It's not true.
If you want to go and not an arm of government, I'm telling you that it's actually the track of the branches of government.
There was procurement breaches. I've just sat here to open about 12 procurement breaches that they had against her. Funny enough, when I was reading the charge sheets about this SML thing, the chunk of the charges are procurement breaches. So we are all trying to sit around this table and agree that procurement breaches are, very weighty offenses. Not the same as traveling as with your family as a Chief Justice and all the other frivolous reasons. The frivolous reasons that were used to remove the head of the judiciary. Let's not sit down and try to belittle it. That thing always kills my soul. You cannot equate the head of the judiciary, the Chief Justice, to the EC chair. No disrespect to whoever the holder or the position of the EC chair, but they are not the same. And I do believe that the ECOWAS course, especially with the things she has laid out, the relief she's seeking, I do hope that it will definitely go her way and a lot of things will become clear. Number one, when the president found this supposed prima facie case against her, there was no explanation. She didn't even know as to which of the three petitions that she was being, this commission, what I call a hung jury, whatever that commission put together was investigating her for. She had no idea. How can that constitute a fair trial in a country like Ghana where we pride ourselves on democracy? And especially coming from a party that has demonstrated to us over the years their very uncomfortable relationship with the judiciary. In this country, when there's any big, sudden, unfortunate incident to happen with our judiciary, it is the hands of NDC are muddied and muddled and all over this matter. I was hoping that with the turn of the new century, a lot of us coming up, it looks like all their evil deeds are being washed out of the memories of people, they would have let it stay there. But no, they came into office, and in their first 10 months, they want that to be their legacy, the removal of the Chief Justice of this country, under very capricious and arbitrary means. There's no way you can look at this matter and then and not see that there was bias with setting it up. One of my panelists was also talking about how Article 147 was followed to the letter. I don't think you've
146,
listened. Yes, 146 was followed to the letter. I don't think you've listened to all the lawyers from all angles on this matter. Most of them would actually argue that it wasn't followed exactly. Because to be able to do that, you have to establish that there's no bias. You can't just take one article of the Constitution and run with it. You have to look at it in totality. And there's no way you can sit here...
Which was the accompanying article comes with the 146?
No, I'm saying that you have to look at...
it's a procedure. The procedure is there.
So you look at the procedure without looking at how you are going to use the discretionary powers available
discretionary
to you.
power?
That's another article for that. The 297, Hamza, will you help me?
No, 146 is
296. Yes. So you cannot look at that in totality. I'm saying that the government, the NDC government had demonstrated bias even before they came into government with this. So you cannot then come and say that there was a certain petition that suddenly had the weight that rose to the authority of the removal of the Chief Justice. That's not true. Let's stop trying to lie to ourselves about that. It was a deliberate, basically it was a campaign promise by the NDC, and they've come and they've executed it. We can look at it that way, and then they'll forever be remembered as the political party, as the government that chose to make that their legacy. They chose to make that their priority. They've been talking about 24-hour economy for how long? We haven't heard anything about that. We know how they've let Ghanaians down on Galamsey, and this is what they choose to make their priority. Out of some misplaced priority. I don't know if they think that is how you can hold people accountable. But we have been able to, as a country over the years, establish a system of law where most people, most of the time, feel like they are going to get a fair hearing. But when you do this, remove the head of the judiciary, no mean person, you can just imagine the amount of fear you've put into the other judges now. Now, if I have a case with Hamza in court, there's no need for me to go.
Why?
Because all they need, sometimes you don't even need that call from. No, Kojo, let me land. And you know, a lot of these things are about perception. You don't even need to get that call from Jubilee House to put fear in you, because you've seen your boss removed unceremoniously over very frivolous charges. We know the way the NDC operates. If they had actual serious evidence against Justice Torkornoo, like procurement breaches, you know, things that we could actually sit down and say, oh, this woman did something wrong, and so because of that, she should be removed. They would have been trumpeting it from high heavens for the whole 10 months that they've been in power. They can never speak to the facts of the matter. All they say is that no law has been broken, because most of us are not lawyers, and so we cannot meet them on that tangent with a very effective argument. But the truth is, if they actually had wrongdoing against that woman, like actual clear basis to remove her, other than political motivated frivolous allegations, we wouldn't be having this conversation like that. And I'm very happy that the ECOWAS court, which is not under the umbrella of fear that has been created in our judiciary, I'm hoping that they are going to at least be able to set some of these things right. We are just trying to, I think all of us should be eager to see if she has been treated fairly, if her right to a fair trial was given to her.
Okay, all right. Let me just add it so that you add it to your, bring in the hefty bail conditions as well, punitive or justice.
Yes. First of all, I think that it is important for me to make one important correction. I listened to my sister attempt to downplay the significance of the Electoral Commission and the fact that we should not equate it to that of the head of the judiciary. One thing she has forgotten is that even her own presentation betrays the history of her party. Indeed, prior to 1992, there was a judiciary in this country. Prior to 1992, there was the executive. Prior to 1992, we may not have had the legislature, or we did not have the legislature. But even though there was judiciary, many of their party members and sympathizers of the Progress Party stock had to run away from this country. They did not use our courts. Why do you think that they didn't use the courts?
Because you had killed 3 judges.
Why do you think that they didn't use the courts? Because we did not have a democratic dispensation at play. So they had no
confidence in what she wants to take pride in today and elevate to a status far and beyond that of the Electoral Commission. That is actually the fulcrum.
Yeah, that's what I said. Because you killed
that's not the reason. So the murder of the judges by your founder had
it happened way back. The murder of the judges under the PNDC.
You said before 92.
I need to recollect you. You are a political science
You
lecturer.
said before 92.
But that's what I'm talking about.
So
But before 92, we have
I thought the murder of judges has something to do with the baby.
Please, I'm telling you that before 1992, we had a military regime in place. Is that not a fact, Dr. Zato?
That's a fact.
Before 92, we had a military junta in charge of the country.
Yes, and they killed it. It was there that they killed the judges.
So that's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making. You understand? Oh, the PNDC killed the judges? Do you have evidence?
Did not happen under your tenure. When you were calling Nanado, a chief galamsea, did you see him with his consent?
How can I explain?
Before 92.
Yes, and you said that I think that you should be invited because we actually are interested in going to there.
The judges were killed when he was leader of the country.
Are you going to allow me make my point?
No,
but I'm making the point that yes, you should be invited. Because you have
but is FCC trying to dispute?
You want to say you're threatening me, Hamza? Come on.
No, I'm saying
it's okay. Allow him to land.
The judges were killed when
we need to move on. Allow him,
this country.
Dr. Zato, allow him to land.
He brought that.
Allow him to land. We have to move on.
So if that something as basic as the absence of democratic dispensation, many of you had to run away from the country and decided not to even patronize our courts.
Because they were killing judges.
Because that is what the lack of democracy do. Even if I am to accept the fact that they were killing judges, do they kill judges under a democratic dispensation?
You just remove them on service.
I'm simply a question. So that tells you the pride of
remove them.
But you people,
and
you want me to do that to you? So
okay.
You can imagine.
Let me go to Nana.
No, please.
Oh, Nana, your time is up. I know, but I've given you two extra.
You can imagine. You can imagine. Doc, are you going to respect our viewers, please?
I'll give him time, so don't worry.
Okay. You can imagine. You can imagine what would have happened if we did not have democracy, if we had not conducted even elections. We would not have been at a place where we'll be having discussions about the removal of a chief justice.
Thank you very much.
So for us,
thank you.
The NPP can decide to do all the politics it wants under the sun. Like we have said and we will continue to say, Madam Torkornoo can have access to our law courts. Madam Torkornoo, like Chachuchikata did, can also have access to international legal institutions to assert her right. Indeed, it is Chachuchikata who won that hall first in this country. Okay. When the NPP decided to massage the rule of law and brought down a judgment that was clearly contradictory to all the fundamental principles of rule of law and constitutionality.
I'm grateful.
And so for many of us, I'm London.
Today you've been too troublesome.
It's a planting.
Why are you doing that?
Because
planting.
So my advice to Dr. Ekuya and Dr. Zato, let me end on my advice. My advice to Dr. Ekuya.
It's okay.
Hold on, gentlemen. Let me hear from you. Nana, I want you to deal. Nana, I want you to deal with that. Is it punitive or is just justice that went well?
Just something happens in 1982 when we have a military regime. And then when we have been able to restructure our system, we want to equate it to what is happening today. And it's unfortunate that Zato, who is a political science lecturer, PhD at that, would want to just oppose and agree. It's very much unfortunate. See, Pojo, perception matters, as we have all agreed. But some few months back, there were perception that before the elections, judgments were being written from the Jubilee House on behalf of judges. There were perception that there is a legal firm in this country that before judges go to court to read their judgment, they have to call that legal firm to agree on their judgment before they go to read. There's a perception before that a certain group of individuals will go to court and in less than 3 hours, they will empanel judges, call the case and rule. To the extent that our legislative arm of government, some of them were even questioning whether indeed the judiciary at the time was a safe haven. Let's move beyond that. Now, back to whether or not the bill, as your English would say, whether it's punitive or it is fair, for lack of a better expression. Because you know there are bases for bills. Some of them, when I hear and I see, I get worried. But then when you look at the elements on which those bills, conditions were given, then you would want to agree. Let me give you a typical example. You would have an individual who goes to do galamsey or is accused of doing galamsey. That individual is accused of even going into the forest before even the act that allowed permission into the forest was granted. That individual goes to sit on national television and displays bars of gold. That individual is seen to be somebody who can just go out there, mobilize people to create mayhem. And the person goes to court, or the person is arrested by a security force. They look at the history. They look at the magnitude of the accusation, the reason he was arrested. They look at whether or not the person's capability to meet the conditions are there. So if you are able to say and prove beyond reasonable doubt that you have properties all over Ghana and richer than anybody at all in Ghana, and you are accused of destroying our water bodies that are taking lives, and you are accused of destroying our forest reserves, which is a national asset, you don't expect your bail condition to be same as somebody who has gone to steal a bunch of plantain or tomatoes from the market. Now, some of the conditions, I think I remember one of them, this MP who has been restricted from going to his constituency. He was granted 150,000 bill. This is Sutufi guy who has attacked Nemon's people.
I forgot. The Sutufi is a north also.
I'm speaking in context.
He was making a lot of
allegations. In context. So you see, I, for one, applauded.
For court.
No, I said I'm speaking in context, so I'm speaking as though it's...
No, you're actually right, because the distinction is that you are... Yes. The other matter is in court. So that's why it's important for you to use that.
So I was excited when the judge restricted him from even going to his constituency.
You were.
Why wouldn't I be excited? So that it will be a lesson to many of these power brokers and individuals who think they have power to question authority. You understand me? So you would see an authorized body in your constituency performing its duty. Then you want to go and question. And the outcome is what we saw. When you are restricted from going to your constituency for 4 months, 6 months, 1 year, and you can't campaign, and it affects your electoral outcome, your colleagues will learn from it.
Okay.
Sometimes these conditions, we are excited about it because it becomes a lesson.
Okay. All right.
And it becomes sort of a scar, for lack of a better expression, that comes onto the minds of individuals who even intend to venture in such an event.
Thank you. I'm grateful to you, Nana. Let me come to Dr. Ikea, then we wrap up. Doc,
I'll try to be very quick.
Just take just 2 minutes. Our time is up.
You have to give me like 5. But
let me just take 2 minutes.
I'll try my very best.
You went to a school that you were taught summary, so please summarize.
Demonstrate.
Yeah, demonstrate it.
First, I find it very,
all the time.
very, very unfortunate that a party that is formed based on supposed UP tradition is trying to downplay the killing of the 3 judges under the PNDC era. I was very surprised to hear that. That I need to put on record. It's something that happened. We have to always remember them in our hearts, and we have to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So if it's happening now in a different context, because we're in 2025 and you can't kill people, and so you unceremoniously remove them, I think it is within our
right. So that was what you did to the Electoral Commission.
To join to draw the line where we can. Onto this matter of bail conditions. First, I think there's been absolutely no good faith demonstrated by this government when it comes to the prosecution of cases. Especially because, number one, the first thing the AG did, especially the AG himself, who has been involved with a lot of cases that have come up, like the Unibank case, the first thing he did was to grant nolli prosequi, like he was dashing out Christmas presents to his party people. The case against Dr. Puni was dropped. The case against Oliver, I don't even, because it was a different kind of matter. Kwabena Agyepong, billions of our money went into Unibank, was used indiscriminately, unaccounted for. The figures involved in the Unibank scandal alone, I think, outweigh everything that they've done in these 4 months, all the charges that they've done. It was unceremoniously dismissed.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Then if we have
issue.
Yeah, do you know how much liquidity support Bank of Ghana was giving to Unibank year on year on that day?
Did you read the report?
I have it and I'll give it to you. Let me come. But a nolli prosequi, it was in court.
Why are you
the matter was sent. What is your problem? Let me land it. You can ask me.
As you compare it to the achievement of the government in this past 10 months.
No, I'm talking about their judicial record on prosecution.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. That you are chasing 18 million cedis, 15 million, blah, blah, blah. Unibank alone, the liquidity support that was given was in the billions. That's what I'm trying to say. Then we come to Honorable Collins Dowda, Sagleme, $200 million that was also thrown out. Atoforsen himself was involved, thrown out. Now let's come and look at the bail conditions for some of these people. Kwabena Agyepong, when he was put before court over the Unibank saga, which I'm telling you the losses to the country was in the billions. His bail condition was 60 million. Collins Dowda was given a self-recognizance bail. There was another person, Atoforsen was also given a self-recognizance bail. In this budget, the budget of the NDC, the one that was just read last week, the allocation for their flagship 24-hour economy, 1 job, 3 shifts, 3 people, do you know how much it is? 110 million, if I am not wrong. But they can sit down, and the way they've been able to put so much fear in the judiciary, ask for bail conditions of 800 million. Basically, they are asking for more in bail conditions than they are willing to allocate to their flagship policy of the 24-hour economy. How does this show seriousness, especially on the back of how they've thrown justice to the wind by freeing all their people? So you are saying all your people that were charged of corruption, even when it's said in Amtamaklo, you have to bring here too. All of those people that were charged with corruption, the charges are frivolous, but the MPP people are the problem. How can that be reasonable?
I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Doc, just a minute. Our time is up. We need to move more.
What we are seeing now, and the justice in this country is what we call the weaponization of bail conditions to punish political opponents.
Don't do that.
That is what we are observing. That the coercive arms of the state have used another means to silence political opponents. And that is weaponize the bail system, make it so high, so outrageous that they cannot meet it, and then punish them for that. And that is what happens. It's not about justice, it's not about fairness, it's not about equity. This is a party that says that we must punish this political opponent even before a court of competent jurisdiction. We must punish them through bail conditions.
But the ECOWAS boss has explained that.
Exactly. I'm coming to that theory. He has his own theory, and I respect that. I respect people come and say, based on my theory, this is going to happen. Tomorrow there will be another a different ECOWAS boss. We will have a different theory. And we will be here. Give time, some time.
I'm grateful.
Let me just correct this impression.
You won't correct any impression.
You took about 5 minutes.
First of all, second of all,
let me move on. Hamza, I gave you time. You decided not to. Yeah, you decided not to do it. Hamza,
I just want to quickly on the Unibank.
This one says, Sammy, listen to this. Listen to this. It says, Sammy, it's sad to watch Hamza defend the inappropriate and political removal of former CJ. Listen, Torkornoo.
No, so you are interested in reading something like that, but you give me the
Don't worry, let me finish. You'll get the time, don't worry. Says, Sami Jemfi, the communication officer of the NDC, was on media outlet when in opposition, threatening that when power is given to them, they will remove the CJ and the EC chair. Truly, they are on course, but Hamza, as a lawyer who should educate the public on the rule of law and the Constitution, is here defending the indefensible. It is sad for our democracy. Torkornoo will be vindicated by ECOWAS court and the international community. And this is coming from Francis Tando in Jomoro.
So briefly, it's just to expose the fallacy reason, especially when it comes to bail conditions. First of all, if you are trying to compare the bail amount that was given to Dr. Dufour to that of other functionaries now, you'll be missing the picture. In the case of the Unibank is treated as a legal personality on its own.
All right, thank you.
And that is important. So that is why.
So what about
I'm grateful for the response. Thank you.
For
Thank you for the response. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Nana Yao Sapon is Deputy General Secretary of the United Party. Dr. Joshua Zato is political scientist and policy analyst. Hamza Suwini is a lawyer and member NDC's communications team. Dr. Ekia Amwaku is Deputy Spokesperson of Team Dr. Baumia. Manche Bruce in Takrade, I've heard your message here. He says the removal of Chief Justice Torkornoo and the ensuing controversy highlight the pressing need to revisit Article 146 of the Constitution. The current provisions governing the removal of judges appear to be inadequate. Mancha Bruce in Takrade says this. The AM show is sponsored by Shield Silicon Paint from Azar Group, Syntex Pipes and Time Herbal Limited. Ghana, let's talk water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the torches on it, then it's not a correct tank. That's right. The tortoise tank, Syntex tank, is the champion of water tanks. It is strong and durable and built to handle our Ghanaian weather. Rain or shine, Syntex tank has your back. So my people, go outside, check your tank. If it doesn't have tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like tortoise. Call 0244 335 168 to buy now or find one of our 400 agents nationwide. You can also shop online at syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, strong, tough. Time for us to say thank you for watching the news review. We'll be back with a very important conversation. We have Engineer Kwabena Agyepong here in the studio. Watch and listen to his interaction. We'll be back with Mercy on.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching the AM show, and of course, time for a big story. But today, of course, is a special one. We're joined by a man whose name has long been synonymous with engineering excellence, principled leadership, and a deep commitment to the new patriotic party. Engineer Kwabena Agyepong, civil engineer, former presidential press secretary, and former general secretary of the NPP, has been a central figure in Ghana's political and governance space for decades. But today, he's offering himself once again for what national service, what he describes as such, at this time, aspiring 2028 NPP presidential candidate. What does his vision look like? Have you ever wondered? What does he believe the NPP must become? And why does he think that he is the man to lead both the party and the country into the future? Engineer Kwabena Agyepong, thank you for joining us today.
I'm very grateful for providing this platform. I'm very happy, and a good morning to all your viewers all across the world.
How's your campaigning coming up?
Yeah, it's very tough. I just returned from Ho yesterday. I was in Ando in the morning to meet 5 constituencies and then went to Ho. Tomorrow I'm billed to be in Aflao and then come back to Sogakope, so completing the Volta region. I'm meeting the delegates, not all of them, but a significant number of delegates around the country. And, it's a tough assignment.
Is it quite difficult in the Volta region, or is it just very normal?
No. In fact, they have better roads than most regions.
Okay.
The Volta region is blessed with good roads, so traveling around there is not as difficult as some other regions. I've just been from the western region, and the central region is much tougher in some of these regions. But again, my vision is to transform politics in our country. I was just listening to what was transpiring, the program before we joined in. And I think it's time for us to create a new Ghanaian. It's very important. And we, the political leaders, have to lead by example, not just by mere words, by our actions. Because patronage should take a back seat right now for us to understand that the very essence of politics is to improve the livelihoods of the ordinary Ghanaian. And once we make that a priority, it will change the way we do politics. Because as it stands now, Ghana, it is so stridently divided that we look at every problem through political lenses. What is wrong, and what is good. It doesn't matter whether you are MPP or NDC. There comes a time we have to speak up. And I quite remember in 2022, I had an interview, was it with Ekusia Kunedu? She was also an affiliate of Joy. You know, when I called on the finance minister to step down. And there were people who were criticizing me that because I'm an MPP member, I shouldn't say so. I said so because he looked in the eyes of Ghanaians and said, we're not going to IMF. That we're a proud country, we can take care of ourselves. And within a week, a solid 360 turnaround. And I felt that we should not accept mediocrity in this country.
Does it surprise you what is happening, the accountability that most of the investigative bodies are seeking with him? Does it surprise you?
Not exactly. What I'm trying to say is there should be harmony, there should be equity, and we should not let it create the impression that it's political harassment. I believe that when you tinker with the public treasury, that there has to be a high penalty that you should pay, you know. And I have zero tolerance for corruption. I've been there before. I've served as press secretary to the president for close to 6 years, an unblemished service in government, because I believe that politics is about service. It's about working hard to ensure the goodwill of the people, the welfare of the Ghanaian people. It's not about ourselves. And right now, the direction that we are running as a country, the trajectory that we are on, I'm worried about it. And it's getting more stridently divisive. I think we stand in urgent need of healing. And I'm the kind of person I believe can heal the divisions in the MPP and also in Ghana. Because I'm worried about what is happening around the country. What they were discussing is an assault on democracy. Because the three pillars of democracy, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, they are supposed to be checks and balances on each other. The impression should not be created that the executive can virtually take control of the judiciary.
By this means you're talking about the removal of the
Chief Justice, which I think was totally unfortunate. It was premeditated. We saw it before the election. They promised it. They've done it without, the charges that they are talking about doesn't pass the smell test at all.
But is it the fault
to
of the
remove
government
the Chief Justice?
Would it be the fault of the government or the provision in the Constitution?
The Constitution is made for man. It is the presidents who operate the Constitution. And that's why the buck stops at the desk of the president. These frivolous petitions should never have passed the desk of the president. Never. That's why he's president. And I'm disappointed in wasting the state's time and energy in removing a Chief Justice who had not caused any major infractions in society. When there's a grave error, all of us will admit that there has been a grave error. But so far, tell me, you are a journalist, MFA. Really, what have you heard has been the culpability of this Chief Justice? So it was just a political move, calculated to cause fear in the judges. And Mahama, when he was in opposition, the president, was accusing President Akufo-Addo of packing the courts with his favorites. But, to give some credibility to the president, he was always filling vacancies when they arise. I disagreed with him then, because I believe our Supreme Court should not be more than 9 judges. President Agyepong would put a cap on the Supreme Court and lift the 70-year-old age for Supreme Court judges. Okay. And so, therefore, I would have thought that even when Akufo-Addo was president, that when there's a vacancy, you can use the vacancy to reduce the number of judges. So I disagreed with him on that. But he had the prerogative, and he was only filling. President Mahama came in without a vacancy, in one fell swoop, appointed 7 Supreme Court judges.
And that is completely in variance to what he was saying when he was in opposition.
You say that we should create a new Ghanaian. You say
That's
that
right.
you think that you can do quite better with this country. Let's talk about the medium or the vehicle with which you can do that, of course, because you belong to a political party.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the political party maybe first, then we'll open it up to the country at large. If you look at the days and the years you spent, the early days of the NPP and today, what has changed?
That is why my theme, the theme of my campaign is MPP going back to our roots.
What does that mean?
When I say roots, when politics was a noble calling. If you look at our forefathers, our forebears, the sacrifices they were making. And we were under military dictatorship. It took courage, determination, a large dose of volunteerism and commitment to bring this party this far. There was no essence of materialism. We were never ruled by money. It was all by merit. You understand? And I think we've lost our way a bit as a political tradition. And that is the message I've been communicating to our delegates, that we need to restore the cherished values, the values that made this party the pride of Ghanaians, because there were people who that you could look at, great people who were prepared to sacrifice their lives just for the development of democracy. That seems to have waned significantly. And I want to use myself, my life in politics, because I was pretty young in 1992, but I was there when it happened. That dedication, that will to do something for your country, not always to look at what you get out of our system. That is what I want to inculcate in the generations unborn.
But globally, if you look at it and you put Ghana in the middle of the global conversation when it comes to politics, does it look to you as though we can go back to that era?
We can.
Have we
can.
People's aspirations and missions?
I think we need a new leader, a new leadership, a new political thinkers, people who think, people who have character. It's not razzmatazz. It's not throwing away money and you know, the kind of materialism that we are seeing dominating politics.
What do you describe as razzmatazz?
A lot of showbiz and throwing things about. You know, that for me, politics is serious. The welfare of the 35 million Ghanaians, MFI, is a serious matter. And I think that as a country, we don't look at our priorities well, whether it's socially, economically, or politically. And so it is very important that it is time to recalibrate our thinking of what politics should be. We think it's patronage, that every party comes into power and we treat Ghana as a piece of cake, we cut it up and share it up amongst ourselves. That is wrong. I have been there before. I've been press secretary to the president at the high level of a cabinet minister in the government. I did not misconduct myself. I did not abuse myself. I have zero tolerance for corruption. And I think we have to begin to communicate that to the Ghanaian people. Because all the Afrobarometer surveys that you see, the respect, the regard that Ghanaians have for politicians has collapsed. Because there's a feel that we get in there to feel ourselves.
Going around the country
Yeah.
and engaging with delegates.
That's right.
Do they understand this?
They do, a lot of them. I mean, you speak to them, some are even in tears. They believe that it is time for us to put our hands on our chest and know that we can build our country. All the developed countries that around the world were not built on materialism. They were built on public-spirited leaders who were prepared. Look at Angela Merkel. She left as chancellor, still went back to her flat. Was loved by Germans because she did the people's bidding, the people's job. That is what we should be doing. We have become a celebratory people, you know that. Because once Ghanaians get a position, they're always surrounded and imprisoned by enablers who are urging them on to do the wrong things. And so I'm against that. I want to speak against that. I want to be the politician, even if it is a risk of political victory. I'm prepared to do that. I'm going to be the politician who's going to fight for what is right in our country.
It's not your first time wanting to be president of this country. I would say that you're quite not relenting. You've shown if we follow your journey. But between 1992 till today, as you sit in this chair, at what point did you think that I think I can be president of this country?
Well, I've thought about that for a very long time because I feel we have a deficiency in this country to have public-spirited individuals who are dedicated to fighting for the common good, who have a collegial mentality, who are looking for our collective welfare and not self-aggrandizement.
That's not all we need in our country. And although we are in a small minority, and I know that we are an endangered species now, people talk to me and say, Kwabena, what you are saying is utopian. It is not utopian. It is achievable. And it's all down to political leadership. I don't think our constitution is faulty. I blame the presidents for the way they have manipulated the constitution.
This constitution as we have.
As we have.
You'd rather it's...
I think it's a good constitution. The only change I would like to make to it, to have full separation between the legislature and the executive like in America.
But can that be very functional?
Why not?
If there's very full separation.
Why not? So that cabinet ministers are not members of the legislature. So that the parliament will concentrate on doing what they are supposed to do. To have oversight responsibility on the government. So that it becomes a check and balance. We have been running a deficit budget for ages. Look, we've done SRP, ERP, FinSAP. We've done all the economic models, but we are still where we are. So it's not about the economic policies or economic models. It's a lack of implementation. It's a lack of goodwill. It's a lack of strong political will to impose order and discipline in every facet of our national life.
Back to the NPP as a party again. So you say that you wish that party members, you will take them back to the way it was years ago when you started. What would be that one thing you'd like to see change with the NPP? I see that you have proposed a number of reforms, which have actually taken expression in the new reforms that they have just done.
It didn't go far enough.
It didn't go far enough.
I wanted the party to be handed back to the masses. And that if we cannot get every registered member who is dues paying to have a voting right, the very least we could have done, and that was in my proposal of 17 April 2025, to give a voting right to all the former executives of our party. They have worked for the party right from 1992. At the ward level, at the polling station level, at the electoral area level, and then at the constituency level. That will expand the electoral college to close to about 2 million. That will make it unattractive for people to try to go around with goodies.
But in general elections, you still see people go around with goodies.
And we have to speak against it, and we have to work against it. Because at the end of the day, we are trying to make leadership the preserve of a wealthy few.
Maybe my question is on the premise that if indeed we open the base, what's the incentive that if people can do it in the general election, it cannot happen within the party internally?
What is important is that when you are doing that, when we break up the delegate system, then we can use platforms such as yours. And that's why I have even challenged my other 4 colleagues that we should have a nationally publicized debate. Ghanaians and our party people deserve to make an informed choice. And that informed choice will be based on our policy differences, our priorities, our character, our record. That should be scrutinized. You understand? Right now, nobody has taken up that offer that I made. I think that the Ghanaian people deserve to know where we stand on major policies. Because, we don't do a lot of thinking in Ghana. We have to be serious-minded people. And character matters. So I think the way we are looking at governance, it's becoming like a popularity contest. But that does not normally give you the best leader that we need. We need somebody who's got transformative ideas. Somebody who has shown that he's prepared to work for results. That is important. And then has the political will to crack the whip when it matters. And I think I fit that kind of bill.
Talking about what you fit, have you heard about that theory about you that, Kwabena Agyepong, quite a fine gentleman, I think he would make a better departmental head, if you understand that. I think he can be general secretary. He can whip people back in line. Have you heard that about yourself?
I've been general secretary before.
I mean, they think that...
I don't know why you are telling me about the position of general secretary.
Not that particularly.
You work to move forward in life.
Not the general secretary today per se, but people say that, you're such a fine gentleman, but you should look at a position that holds the party together, not necessarily the president or the flag bearer. Have you heard that at all?
What is important is that the party itself is in the belly of the country.
Okay.
And I think both the country and the party stands in urgent need of a serious-minded, public-spirited individual to lead our country, who is prepared to call a spade a spade. It's very important. And we haven't had that for a bit. So I think it's important that my views are very clear. I have a strong 6-point plan that I'll adore very soon to the people of Ghana, including land reform, including restoring meritocracy and professionalism to the public services. I think in Ghana now, we've tainted everything with politics. And that's why I see the move on the Chief Justice as an assault on the pillars of democracy. Today, you go into a sensitive institution like the army or the police, and they are telling you this man is MPP, this man is NDC. That is wrong. There should be stagecraft. People are there, they should be professional enough to serve their country. And the fact that somebody was CDS under an MPP administration, that doesn't make him an MPP person. And we need to protect the state institutions, to build the sanctity of these institutions and strengthen them. As a former president said of America came here and said, we need to build strong institutions of state, not strong personalities. And so what is happening now is to deface the public institutions. I've seen party faithful attack public institutions, close even the offices. The offices belong to the country. The fact that the party has won power does not give that party that right, or members of the party the right to go and enforce their control in state offices. There has to be a clarity between a political party, which is a vehicle that is used to produce a president, and the office of the president that acts for all of Ghana. And that's what I believe in.
With all the reforms that the party looked at, you talk about the opening the base,
which we did not go far enough.
Which didn't go far enough.
Didn't go far enough.
The other reforms.
And even the two that they are now adding to the polling stations, they added a sunshine clause at Congress, which I did not understand. It means although our party has approved 80,000 more to be added to the electoral college, that is 2 at each polling station in the 40,000 polling stations, and 4 more for the over 7,000 electoral area coordinators. That would bring close to another 30,000. If you put that together, it means as it stands now, we are disenfranchising over 130 voters who have been legally approved by our Congress, that we have to actually execute the most important election, which is the presidential primary, before we can add them. What is the rationale for such a thing?
Talking about disenfranchising people, the conversation of proxy voting has come up strongly. And in the past, you'd see people who use proxy voting mostly based abroad, whereas it allows you, if you have other situations that can help you use a proxy vote. But mostly, if you look at it traditionally, it will be people who have been outside the country. But the NPP's leadership said that they're banning that. How does that come to you?
It's not entirely correct, for what you said. I mean, we've always seen our diaspora people come here and vote. During the primaries that I participated in 2023, they all came down and voted. So proxy are used in exceptional circumstances. Maybe there's a health issue. Maybe you're a public service worker and you have to be outside for a conference or something. That makes it impossible for you to be in the jurisdiction. And that one you even apply to the General Secretary. And you can only give your proxy to someone who is already on the register. And you can only have one more proxy. So it cannot be that people say they are outside and therefore they want others to vote for them. No. But
they say it's expensive to come to Ghana.
It has always been expensive. Let me tell you, a ticket from Wa to Accra is more expensive than Accra to London.
Really?
Oh, yes. Check it, dollar rate, and see it. So there are people who may be in Wa on the day who want to come to Accra and come and vote. So that, for me, is not an excuse. The Presidential Elections Committee is going through making sure that we have a transparent, equitable environment for this election.
But how does allowing that not make it equitable?
I've been
or
General
not
Secretary before.
Okay.
And I've also contested for General Secretary before. And I've seen how proxy votes have been abused in the past. They have been. It's a fact. I'm not going to go into the details. You understand? So I know how it's been abused before in the past. If you have a genuine proxy, that health issue, you have a doctor's report that you can't make it on the day, you are bedridden, but you have a voting right, you can always request the General Secretary. and that should be done. But it cannot be a blanket thing for the whole diaspora and say that all of you can have proxy vote. That is unacceptable. We are not going to accept that as candidates. And I know this morning we are having a meeting with the Presidential Elections Committee. I don't know whether that comes up, but I think that shouldn't be a big issue. I don't know why people are creating an issue out of it.
The current approach of having to elect the presidential candidates before the executives, does it work well for you?
You know, I think if you looked at my proposal, I was the first to make that proposal because we are in exceptional circumstances. Unfortunately, our chairperson, who's normally the leader of our party, and if in the past we've had very strong party chairmen, B.J. Darocha, Peter Alajete, Odoi Sykes, and the rest. You know, at any point, especially when we're in a difficult situation that we find ourselves now, you need a figure that can drive our leadership and focus our party. Unfortunately, for health reasons, the one who is elected, who has the mandate to lead, is unable to perform his duties. So we have an acting chairman. So it creates a vacuum. It creates a vacuum. And see, we should not create a situation where the impression is created that because of that vacuum, there is no leadership. And that's why I felt maybe it would be best, first to expand the Electoral College, because I felt that was the most important thing. And so if you look at the proposal that I submitted to the party, everything else was contingent on the expanded Electoral College, which was not achieved. But I think my second point, I said, look, considering the exceptional circumstances that we find ourselves, I think that if we are able to expand the Electoral College and looking at how polarized the party has become, and that when we start the elections from the polling stations, electoral areas, that polarity will get in there, where constituency chairman will be supported by various candidates. So you go to a constituency, you see the chairman belongs to candidate A, the secretary is candidate B, and it doesn't work for the harmony of the constituency. And I believe all parties, our strength depends on how harmonious and cohesive our constituency party is. So I said, look, considering where we are now, coming from a very difficult defeat that we suffered in 2024, perhaps after we've enlarged the base to about 2 million voters and we have refreshed the base, then maybe we should have the presidential election first. Apparently, it fitted into some people's plan. So they picked that portion and it became the news. Kwabena Agyepong says top-down. I never mentioned top-down or bottom-up, never mentioned it. But it's been christened as such. But it was well-intentioned, just to make the party strong, to create more harmony and cohesiveness. That's what I thought we were trying to do. And in fact, I even suggested that, look, 93% of the Electoral College is made up of the polling stations. Their mandate expires in February. Their mandate expires in February. There are two options. We could push the election from 31st January to, say, 31st March and have a freshened Electoral College and include the two that has been approved by Congress. Because it's always better to refreshen the base of the party before you go into an election. That is what I captured in my proposal. But people have torn it apart, presented it by their own ways, and created this impression. So for me, even now, it's not too late. I felt that the polling stations should have been refreshed. It's important always, and they make up 93, 94%. Once the base is refreshing, it's not the same old polling stations system that gave us this defeat.
In your view, who's the real leader of a political party? The flag bearer or the chairman?
It's the flag bearer. I mean, let's not joke about anything. He's the one whose face is going to be on the ballot. He's the one who's going to be president. I mean, let's face facts. I want to be a very pragmatic and realistic person. I mean, so when we went to Congress and we said that the chairman is the leader, I just laughed. There's no need. The chairman has always been leader in the Constitution. He has headed the party. Even when we have a president, when we go to national executive, it is chaired by the chairman. The president sits by the side. You understand? So we all recognize that. But the president is the president of all of Ghana. And the party chairman is chairman of a political party inside Ghana. So we should respect and accord that respect to the flag bearer or the presidential candidate. I think it's important. He's the one whose face we are going to sell to the Ghanaian people.
So for you, regardless of how they have just extracted portions of what you were proposing, we have the arrangement that we vote for the presidential candidate first, but we have acting chairman and all of that. Yeah. Does that cause any nuance at all?
It's worrying because, you see, there's a growing feeling, and I feel uncomfortable to say this, but the program that we just saw, I mean, my daughter, Dr. Amuako, is the daughter of my very good friend. We're colleagues. George Amuako, that's the daughter, very brilliant girl, and I enjoyed her delivery on this program. But I thought she was there should have been representing NPP, because there was NDC, there was United Party, and there was a political scientist. Why was she referred to as the spokesperson for Dr. Bawumia?
It's her address. It's how she likes to be addressed.
It is wrong. Once we do that as a political party, it creates the impression that the party establishment is pushing behind one candidate.
Do you feel like that, though?
Well, by this program, this morning, you are sending a wrong signal to the party. You are sending a wrong signal to the party.
If we take away this morning's program, do you still look at the whole...
Well, I believe in fighting my corner, and I'm a taskmaster. You know, I want to work hard and do my best. Tell the people the hard truth. That's what I've been telling them. And that right now, as a political party, we need to have a fresh lease of life. We need to depart from what we've been known for the last 2 decades. I think it is in our own interest. The last 8 years were very difficult for Ghanaians. And of course, therefore, they would always blame the government. So why send people who played a significant role in the government? Fortunately, I'm the only candidate who did not participate in the last 8 years. And that will give Ghanaians a fresh look at me. And they may give me the benefit of the doubt.
I can dare say that.
All the difficulties.
Shall I dare say that you have been, among all the candidates, you have served longer in the party?
Of course. That's a fact. I mean...
Okay. I mean, if you look at the voting population currently, right, I would also say that the larger voting is the young population.
Very young population.
Are you able to touch base with them? Do they understand you? I had to read about you. I had to ask questions about you.
I know that. I mean, when I was at the peak, I'm telling you, very young. When I was press secretary in 2001. But many people still see me as young. I can connect with the youth. I'm very vibrant. I'm articulate. I think I have the charisma to bring the party together, and I think I can be the glue, because I've served all our political leaders in the past. I'm one who has worked with everyone and has not had any bad word for anyone. So I believe I'm best positioned. I'm the most viable candidate to weld this party together, to heal the divisions. Because they know the heat that is being generated in the party right now by the so-called candidates. You understand? But I am not that type. I have served Dubois-Hene, I've served Kufuor, I've served Akufo-Addo, and in 2023 I served Dr. Bawumia.
Which is, I have a few messages from people watching who want me to ask you about how you feel today having to contest in the same category with a person that you were very much dedicated to. That will be Bawumia. But again...
It shows my quality as a patriot. It's not for nothing that our leaders named our party New Patriotic Party. We are supposed to be patriots of this land. And we are the ultimate Democrats. We push for democracy's return to Ghana. And once you believe in democracy, it means majority rule. I was a contestant in 2023. You understand? But when I didn't get much of a vote, I was prepared to come out openly. In spite of all the tensions that was building in the party when people were threatening to leave and others were threatening showdowns and that kind of stuff, I cautioned them that you go through the history of this party, you always rally behind the one who is elected. In 1992, those of us who were young, we had a young executive forum, we supported Dr. Kwame Safo-Edu. But when a Dubois-Hene won, we rallied behind a Dubois-Hene. I became the face and the voice of the party in 1992, sitting on national television. In those days, there was no Joy FM. It was only Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. As a 30-year-old, it was a mighty assignment to be on national television, to prevail on Ghanaians and try and persuade them not to vote for the military dictator who was also standing for elections and vote for Professor Agyepong. If you didn't have courage, that spirit of sacrifice, you wouldn't do that. As a young civil engineer working at Ghana Highway Authority, which is a public service, under the then head of state and military leader. But I sacrificed for the party because I believe in the party. And we worked together to support Professor Agyepong. In 1998, I was candidate Akufo-Addo's first campaign manager. Went around the country, lost to candidate Kufuor in Sunyani. And Kufuor saw my potential, brought me as part of his campaign. I was the de facto director of communications in the lead up to the 2000 election. I was the one he nominated to go and represent him at the Electoral Commission, although I didn't support him in the primary. So he is a quintessential Democrat, Mr. Kufuor. Put us all together. When he became president, brought me close to himself, although he knew I didn't support him. I was his press secretary for close to 6 years. I'm making these points because in 2023, I felt it a duty to support Dr. Bawumia, who had been elected by the masses of our party. But that electoral cycle ended on December 7th. This is a new electoral cycle. You understand? When we talk like that, we make it seem that nobody should support the winner. Because when you support the winner, it means you are banned for politics for life. That cannot be right. And I think I should not be penalized for doing what is right by the party and what is right by a patriot of our party. And so I supported him, and I think every genuine patriot has the sacred duty to support who comes out of this election. I'm confident that my message is resonating across the country, and we are in line for a big upset victory in this January 31st election. And I expect all of the other colleagues to rally behind me the way I rallied behind Dr. Bawumia when I win this election on 31st January.
Professor Fredon Boateng has altered an article. I'm not sure if you have seen it.
I've seen that. I've seen it.
How do you feel about that article? He majorly talks about the leadership of the party.
You see, sometimes good prof, my senior, my good friend, I'm uncomfortable with that because you were in cabinet for 4 years. When you are in cabinet for 4 years, you make your voice heard when it matters most. Not when you are outside that you have to start throwing stones inside. But some of the points he made are important.
Do you mean internally as a party member or his role he took up? Because, of course, he was always...
I think that once you are given a cabinet position, and I think we need to build a new Ghanaian, a new politician. When things are going wrong in government, speak about it in cabinet.
He's been quite vocal.
No, he wasn't when he was minister. He wasn't when he was minister. So, yes, I agree to quite a number of what he has said.
Like which one? I'm curious.
Well, I don't think you should worry too much about that. I think it's important, I've mentioned it here, the impression should not be created that the establishment is right behind a particular candidate. It doesn't bode well for bringing everybody together. With me, my record is clear. It's a public record. I've always supported the party, even when I was going through a traumatic experience in this party. I never turned my back on the party. I always supported the party, even in 2016, over 100 constituencies, supporting them materially. You understand?
You've just described it traumatic.
Yes.
Have you healed?
I'm talking about my unjustifiable and illegal removal as General Secretary of the party.
I recall, but have you healed completely?
Of course. I mean, I am someone that God has given a lot of emotional strength because of my background. I've been through difficulty as a young 20-year-old when I lost my dad. You understand? So I've been through a lot. So I'm very tough, emotionally tough. So
if your father was here today, what would he say to you?
I think he'll be proud of me. And I do a lot of things in his honor. Every 30th June, I go to the Supreme Court. We go and lay a wreath where his statue stands with his other colleagues, and I know who he was. He was not a materialistic person. He trained me as staunch Methodist to serve mankind, because we Methodists, to serve man is to serve God and to serve quietly and to not brag about it. And that's what we do. So we need values here in this country. We need to restore that moral fiber which is being eaten away by materialism. And we, the politicians, should take a lead. And Ghanaians should stop becoming enablers of bad behavior by politicians. When something is wrong, it is wrong.
So it doesn't matter whether it is MPP, and that's why when I came out and I said the president should act and change things in 2022 at the time, the dollar was heading into a tailspin. It had moved to 7 from 5. Some people criticized me, and I said, no, this is the country we need to build. The people who can look in their president's eye and tell them the truth. The reason why presidents have always accommodated chairmen and general secretaries of their party is only a convention, but it's a good convention, because being general secretary and chairman, you should carry the sentiments of your political party into cabinet. So when decisions are being taken, so you can become check and balances. You are not supposed to go there and become an enabler. You know,
How did you resolve the 4 million?
Well, that matter was dealt with. We've dealt with that. That's why I'm on the ballot.
Okay. When you say you dealt with that, meaning that you paid?
It's been dealt with. I don't want to go back there. It's been dealt with. I'm on the ballot. I'm running my campaign.
They say that it's quite expensive to run a campaign in this country.
It is. It is. It is. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, if you go and meet even some constituencies have 1,500 delegates, like this constituency that we are in. I think it's Ayawaso Central, if I'm right. And even if you are able to afford 100 cedis for their transport, sometimes you want to share their transport burden with them. If you give them 100 cedis, that is 150,000 in one constituency. So multiply that by 276. You haven't talked about your team you are working with, the petrol that you're using to travel around the country, the hotels you're sleeping, the feeding and accommodation. So it's tough. It's tough. But you have good people who believe in your philosophy. So there are a lot of people supporting me, chipping in here and there, 500,000 here, 1 million there, small, and we're moving. But it's very, very tough. So unfortunately, I'm not able to meet all the delegates. But every constituency I go, I try and bring in at least 100 of the polling stations and then another 100 of the other executives. And even 200, if you're able to give them 200 cities, that's 40,000. For someone who's been ostracized and sidelined for 10 years, that is a tough call.
I could have this conversation with you. Unfortunately, I'm wrapping the conversation, but let's pretend that we're not on TV and then I pulled you to the corner and asked you, will you win? Are you sure you'll win?
It's tough, and when you are going to an election, it's not like a football match. There's never a drawn result. It's either you win or you lose. So you've got to emotionally prepare yourself for either outcome. You understand? So I'm working very hard. I have a feel that the party is ready to deliver a shocking result. They believe in my values. They believe in my long-standing, dedicated service to this tradition. They believe that that is what will bode well for the Ghanaian people. They believe it is time for a new dawn, a fresh lease of life, a departure from what the status quo that we have been used for the last 20 years. And they think that Engineer Kwabena Agyepong, I tick those boxes. I'm firm, I'm tough, I will impose order and discipline and make sure Ghana is what we all desire to be. We have to work hard at that and reorient our people. I think that for me is critical. This monetary-driven politics has to cease.
Thank you
for sitting with me. We have to know that we can put our hand on our chest and love our country, Ghana.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, MFR, for the opportunity.
You're watching the AM show. Please stay this one. Hello there, thank you for staying with us. Now let's talk about the Global Entrepreneurship Festival. And joining me in studio is Frida Onboard Astanga, Partnership and Communications Manager, Global Entrepreneurship Festival. And of course, not a stranger to me, and of course some of you watching, Raymond Smith, Sponsorship and Partnership Rep, Global Entrepreneurship Festival. Raymond, it's good to see you. Hi, Frida.
Good to connect with you.
Yes, how have you been? Tell me about the Global Entrepreneurship Festival.
Well, it's just a great morning to be here on the AM show, and thank you to the management of Multimedia for the partnership and the opportunity. So the Global Entrepreneurship Festival is a global event happening in Ghana on the 21st to 23rd of November at the La Palm Royal Beach. This is the gathering of world leaders who are championing entrepreneurship. If I want to look back, multimedia is 30 years, and I'm a beneficiary of multimedia's initiative. You know, when Mr. Chum decided that he wanted to be a media entrepreneur, 30 years, some of us have been a beneficiary of that initiative or that vision. It's the same, you know, spirit of bringing the global entrepreneurship to Africa and to Ghana, to reawaken the essence of why we must drive entrepreneurship. And so the reason why we are doing this is to reawaken. And let me just rephrase the words of the president of Ghana. He said, this will reawaken the soul of Ghana, because we are bringing over 10,000 people across the world into Ghana, basically to discuss business, innovation, leadership, excellency, of how individuals across the world have really achieved a lot when it comes to entrepreneurship.
Okay, that sounds really sweet. Very, very sweet. Frida, so is this the first time ever, or it's something that you've been doing already?
Yes, so the Global Entrepreneurship Festival, we had the last edition in Nigeria. Okay. So it happens across the world. And this year, Ghana is privileged to host it. So the whole goal of this is to create a marketplace where innovators, entrepreneurs, startups, investors can come share ideas, collaborate, network. It's just a marketplace of growing as entrepreneurs, getting the right exposure, the right opportunities with the right people.
How was the Nigerian one?
Excellent. It was like a deal closing center. Okay. A lot of deals were closed. And the closing concert, that is where most of the deals were closed.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. This year in Ghana, what form and shape will it take? You've told us where it will happen, but who is speaking? Beyond you saying that it's a place of networking, discussing business, sealing deals and signing deals. Who is speaking? Why must I concern myself with the event?
I mean, the idea is that if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to connect with global audience, what the Global Entrepreneurship Festival presents to you is that they are global leaders coming from all over the world. I mean, we have the first gentleman on the land as our guest, speaker. That's on the gala night. And we have other notable, speakers as well. Sir Sam Jonah is one of the speakers, and many other speakers who are actually coming. Why this should concern you is that you're going to meet investors. We have what we call the Entrepreneur Investment Program. Now, within my network, I've seen a lot of young entrepreneurs screenshot their emails indicating to me that they've been selected to pitch their entrepreneur idea. Now, that's the essence of the Global Entrepreneurship Festival. So it's not just the talk. It's about doing the right things that will help anyone into entrepreneurship.
If you're selected and you pitched your business or your idea, then what, Frida?
So it offers seed funding on the spots. So
like,
yes,
there.
Yes, on the spot.
He's cash or check?
Yeah, cash.
Okay.
Yes, so that's the opportunity it gives the young entrepreneurs that will be there, the startups. So the access, the seed funding, and the networking opportunity to the right people for their businesses.
Okay. Yes. Okay. How many young people are selected to pitch their ideas, or you can just be Kali?
We have over 5,000 people applying for the program, the pitch program.
Okay. And is there a special panel that will listen to your pitch?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you are accessing any funding and you have to be on the global stage, definitely you know that they are seasoned entrepreneurs who actually will ask you the right questions just to understand what you are offering within the entrepreneurship space. And so this is the time. And if you haven't visited our website, just log on to Global Entrepreneurship Festival. From day 1 to the 3rd day, which is the closing concert, every information that you need, if you want to buy a ticket, everything is on our website to be able to get more information about the event.
Okay, what time is it starting tomorrow?
Tomorrow by 9, we're up.
And the gala.
Yeah, so the gala is actually hosted by the President of Ghana. That is on the day 2.
Okay.
Saturday. Yeah.
So maybe I could just mention some of the programs we have. So we have the day 1, we have the conference, networking session, breakout rooms, pitch, to investors, then day 2, we have the Global Recognition Award. That's the gala, where the president will be hosting hackathon, innovation, arts, sports and entertainment, a trade fair exhibition so we are calling vendors.
Okay. I mean, all of this information is on the website, right, Raymond?
Yes.
All right. Frida and Raymond, thank you. Pleasure to join me in studio today, of course, and all the best tomorrow also.
Thank you so much. And we just want to say a big thank you to Mr. Kenansa and the entire team for giving us this opportunity to share the good news, with many Ghanaians who are into entrepreneurship.
My job is to send you an invoice. I will.
Yeah,
But anyway, please stay. We're nearly wrapping the show, but I've still got a conversation coming up, so stay. Thank you so much for staying with me. Now, let me tell you about Max Buy and Rita Osei-Tete. She is marketing manager for Max Buy Ghana Limited, who will be helping me tell you about it. Rita, tell me about Max Buy.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Max Buy, we are the #1 leading electronics brand in Ghana. We sell everything electronics, from mobile phones to appliance, TV, ACs, blenders, air fryers, everything mobile phones and appliances, you can get it at Max Buy.
Okay, I was listening to you, but I can't help but pay attention to what's on your T-shirt that says, you shop, you drive.
Exactly.
What's that?
So yes, we are currently running the You Shop, You Drive promo, and it's very simple. Simply shop in any of our outlets. We have about 36 shops nationwide, everywhere in Ghana. You shop and you stand a chance of entering into the draw to win the ultimate prize, which is the car.
Like if I buy one, I still stand a chance?
Still stand a chance of winning.
Can you rig the process?
Okay, so it's very simple. Anything you buy, as I said, from Techno to Infinix to ITEL, you stand a chance of winning. We'll give you a raffle draw ticket. You fill out your details, your name, your number, and then we put it in a raffle box nicely. And then every week, in fact, it's not just the car we are giving out. We are giving out home appliance, we're giving out mobile phones and TVs. Yes, but the ultimate is the saloon car.
Okay, so even for the raffle draw, if they pick it, you can win something.
Yes, you can win something.
The ultimate is the car.
Yes,
what car are you people feeling generous to give out like that?
We're giving out a Toyota Yaris.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But for Christmas, this is what you're using to Did a Bronya, basically.
Yes, Did a Bronya, she said. So it has started, the promo has started, but it's ending on 31st December. So throughout Black Friday and December, shop with us and you stand a chance of winning.
What's your biggest outlet?
Our biggest outlet now, I would say, is at the Junction Mall. That's our flagship show.
Okay, because I want people to go there. That's where you get plenty of things to buy. So you get more raffle draws tickets, right?
Exactly.
Okay, but are you also very active on social media?
So we are active on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok. The name is Max Buy Ghana. Follow Max Buy Ghana. And you can also contact on 0544 019 552. So come shop with us. And Black Friday has started. Today, we are starting all our Black Friday promotions.
So that's a special and a different kind of promotion.
So up to 50% discount. So this is like promotion within promotion.
Okay.
The Black Friday promotion starts from 20th to the 30th of November. And then still, you shop, you drive promotion is ongoing.
Okay, so for this Black Friday, even if I entered an outlet and I bought something now, it will be 50% discount.
Exactly.
Anything at all?
Anything at all.
Okay, then when I buy it as well, I am eligible.
You still stand a chance to enter through the raffle draw.
How long have you been doing business? How long have you been doing?
Max Buy has been in this retail business for the past 15 years.
Okay, then of course you can afford to give a card then. Rita, well, is there anything else you'd like to say to your
I'd like to tell our audience to simply shop with Max Buy, and with Max Buy, you can quality, good service, and authentic products is assured.
Rita, you're amazing. Thank you so much. I'll be looking out for, I hope to win a car. God. Yeah, I'm tired of the trotro. Thank you very much. But anyway, thank you especially for staying with us all through the show. Of course, I did this with the Hunter Pele. There's so much more if you did stay with us here on the Joy News channel. I am Emefa Akosia Adeti. Thank you for watching.